We don't hear you say.
Test. There we go.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3.
Well, good evening. We're running just a few minutes behind, so I do want to be as timely as I possibly can this evening. Before I call the meeting to order, I want to announce that some committee members, staff, and the public are attending remotely via Zoom as well as on site. All participants joining by phone should mute their phones when not speaking to avoid background noise. When speaking, please speak directly into a microphone to ensure everyone listening is able to hear your comments and to ensure a clear record is made. During the meeting, please make sure that you announce yourself by name and title every time you speak, so the public that is observing knows who is speaking. This is critical given the number of remote participants and its current guidance from the Kansas Attorney General. The public is allowed to participate by Zoom or submit comments by mail prior to the meeting, and those comments will be included in the record of this meeting. The public may also indicate their intent to provide remote public comment by contacting the clerk's office by noon on the day of the meeting. The public also will have an opportunity to provide brief comments either by telephone or via Zoom from the fifth floor conference room of the municipal office building. If public comments are allowed on an agenda item, comments should be limited to the topic of that item. Disruptive comments and behavior are not permitted and may result in removal from the meeting. I will call this meeting of the Economic Development Finance Standing Committee for December 8th, 2025 to order, and I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Roll call. Wakes.
Here.
Lopez.
Here.
Burns. We have an absence memo. Stites. Townsend.
Here.
Burrows.
Here. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Committee, our first order of business this evening is the approval of minutes from July 29th, September 9th, September 30th, November 4th, and December 9th of 2024. I do hope you've had a chance to review those minutes. Read them this afternoon. If there's any changes that need to be made or any corrections, now would be the time to bring it forward. Commissioner Stites.
Stites, District 7. I just have a question that would, over a year to approve some minutes. Why is it just now coming to us?
Madam Clerk, would you care to respond? to that?
Sure. The clerk's office has been behind in minutes for almost a year and a half. We are now to the point where we are doing what we call summary minutes. We were doing word for word. Word for every hour of meeting takes 8 hours to transcribe. Now that we're going to summary minutes, you see what we've been able to do.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, if we're not doing word for word, are tapes of the minutes being kept?
The video of the meeting is available online as well.
Okay, so there will be a permanent
Yes.
record of everything that was said in any given recorded meeting.
That is correct.
Okay.
Sounds like we have a
How-
backup for our backup.
Yeah. And how is it decided what gets in the recorded minutes that we will see, or what was the term that you used for them?
We actually are going through, if anyone in particular, and there is one set of minutes where Commissioner Lopez said for the record, and we verbatim did that, but otherwise it's a summary of the criteria. We are using AI as a pilot to summarize what the transcript says. And then based on that summary, we go through, human eyes set on it, and actually go through and make sure that we've captured all of the pertinent information.
So you said AI goes through a transcript, so there's
Yes.
a transcript made.
It's not a transcript.
Okay.
It's a download of the recording,
Mhm.
very raw data. And AI, then we run it through our, if you've ever heard of Otter AI, that's what we're using.
Mhm.
And we run it through Otter. Otter then summarizes it. And we can ask Otter anything. Give us the key points for whatever item it is. And Otter will produce those key points as they were spoken about. Again, we still have to go through that and put human eyes on it to make sure that we captured all of the correct data.
So AI determines what's important, that's what's summarized, or?
AI gives us a base
Mhm.
that says, here are the key points,
Mhm.
as was discussed at the meeting. And then we go through as the clerks and verify that that information is correct and make sure that all of those key points were captured. So we're still putting our eyes on it, the ones that actually attended the meeting.
Mhm.
And we're still looking at all of the data to make sure that we've captured everything.
Well, I'm thinking about the last meeting we had Thursday.
Oh,
There's not enough AI to compute all that.
And what AI might decide is worthy of being, summarized and.
we will know that in about a week because we take about a week to be able to go through it and summarize it. And then again, we review it to make sure that we've captured everything. I will also say for you that if you have access to Civic where you get your meeting agendas, the video is now right there as well. So in Civic, you will have the actual agenda, you will have the summary minutes, and you will have the video of the meeting all in one location.
Well, I'm definitely glad to know that there is some media
Yes.
that will capture 100%. And that you or someone in your staff is looking. I guess I would just have to see. I'd be interested. I may be gone, but I'd be interested in seeing what those minutes from last Thursday look like to see what AI thought was important enough to capture. So,
We will certainly be going through that.
yes, thank you.
It may just be a paragraph.
I have my opinion.
And just to add a further explanation, it is common practice in the industry now
Mhm.
and state law and our ordinance say summary minutes. So we're actually
Spoiled.
complying with our minutes.
We've been spoiled. so
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any other questions or any other comments? I need a motion to approve the minutes, all the minutes that I expressed by date. If we could do them all in one motion, that would be much appreciated.
I'll move the adoption of the amendment. Wakes move the approval of the minutes as stated.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion to approve the minutes of July 29th, September 9th, September 30th, November 4th, and December 9th, 2024. One collective vote. And we have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Roll call. Wakes.
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
Stites. Townsend.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, committee. Committee, our first item up this evening is item 4.1. It's a resolution updating our purchasing policy. And I believe we have Shelley Knieven here this evening, our Chief Financial Officer, for the presentation and remarks. Shelley, please.
Yeah, thank you. So in the packet, we provided some information. Back in 2020, there was a memo from the county administrator that changed the dollar thresholds to the existing policy. The policy itself was not changed to reflect that. So it's been a bit confusing for new employees, for vendors, what our purchasing policy requires, because our policy had the old thresholds in it, but we were going by for the last 5 years, the new thresholds. So I had it as an item that I became aware of when I first started. And we are bringing forward to you now to consolidate that all into one document. So the thresholds, just take it from the memo and update the policy. So we're not recommending substantive changes, but wording changes. And so you can see that in the packet, we provided both a clean copy of the policy as revised, but also a strike through. But again, it is not changes in terms of what we've been following for the last 5 years. It's just making it a clearer communication document and updating some of the language because as titles change or positions change and so forth over time. So I'm glad to answer anything you have questions about on the changes. But again, the intention that we had was not to make a substantive change, but just to incorporate that memo into the policy. So we had one document, a purchasing policy. I will share that the purchasing department did do a survey of other cities and counties to see are our dollar amounts in line with those. And outside of some really large municipalities like Kansas City, Missouri, we are in line with what others have, as well as the state of Kansas and the state of Missouri. So one of the questions was, should we change those either up or down? And what we found is we're right within kind of the norm for our metropolitan area of when you get 3 quotes, when you do written quotes, and when you do actually competitive sealed proposals. And so we're not making any recommendations to change those thresholds. It's really kind of a cleanup item. But if you have questions, I'm glad to answer any of them.
Committee, any questions? Shelley, I have a few, if I may. What prevents what I call splitting of a purchase order, maybe once for 4,000, and if it exceeds the 5,000 limit, and they turn around and put 3,500 on the next one to avoid having to get a purchase order?
Yeah, so, well, that's prohibited and that's part of the internal control and what purchasing is looking for. But also, if you recall, I have shared a little bit about the data analytics tools that we have in place. And it's looking for things like split bids, exactly what you're talking about, that if people are making purchases from the same vendor to try and get under the dollar threshold so they don't have to get quotes, our system will pick that up. Our purchasing department also lays eyes on all of those requests as they're coming through. A department can't get a purchase order independent of purchasing. So there's a lot of controls in place for that. And not to say that it doesn't happen or something might get through, but we are definitely monitoring for that because that's not our intention, as well as training for that. That is a violation to purposely try to subvert the purchasing policy. And fortunately, we haven't really had a lot of issues with that. One thing that we are working on is trying to get some what we call blanket POs, purchase orders in place, because we have certain kinds of purchases that we might do for, say, auto parts from Napa. And so they might be doing it on their purchasing card, and those are small purchases, and that is an appropriate use of a purchasing card. However, we don't really have a universal view of how much we're spending with that vendor. So we are working with purchasing and all the departments to put in place an agreement with Napa or whoever so that we can do more of an account that we pay monthly and then charge back the right locations, but so that we have better exposure. And then we also can look at cooperative agreements where we might be getting better pricing if we're covered by a cooperative purchasing agreement, as opposed to just doing the 1Z, 2Z, 3Zs along the way. So that's just another way that's not intended to really split the purchase, but we want to make sure we're also getting the best price.
Thank you for that. Any other questions? Commissioner Lopez?
Yeah, Lopez, District 6. Hey, so does this, is this for like after a week, does it reset after the month? Does it reset of using that vendor for other purchases?
No, it doesn't. It's really by the purchase type. So if, say, for example, something big. So we're going to do a road, right? We will have bid it. And that project itself has a contract that then is specific to that road. Now, maybe we're bidding other roads at the same time, and maybe that bidder gets to be is the lowest bid in that case too. That's okay, because it's specific to the purchase. What Commissioner Burrows was talking about, it maybe is the person who wants to buy, something technology related. And so they kind of split it up to like half of the technology they need in one purchase, one transaction, and the rest of it's in another. And we do have internal controls to prevent that. But there's not a prohibition from doing repeat work with vendors, but there is a rule about what you have to get competitive quotes on, and it is in the aggregate. So if you're doing a lot of purchases from one vendor and it goes above the $5,000, now you're going to need to start getting competitive quotes. And if it gets above the dollar threshold, then you might need to do a bid. So that's what kind of governs what kind of purchasing process we follow at the front end. But we don't prohibit doing work with the best vendor if they're the lowest price.
Right, no, I get that, but I'm talking like if it's under 5,000, let's say like 3,000. Parks and Rec said, hey, there's a step over at this one park that we need fixed, and it's $2,000, and then like, oh, by the way, a week later or a month later, there's another step at the same park on the other side that might need fixed. That, hey, when can they, now are they over their $5,000? Is it
Right, I understand what you're saying, Commissioner, and I will say we're not covered completely, but we are in the process of doing what's called on-call contracts. So that it picks up, like you might not know the specifics, things, HVAC. You may need to call out somebody to fix your HVAC. And each time it might be under $5,000, but annually we spend maybe 25,000.
Mhm.
So we want to get a contract in place ahead of time. For parks, we want to do a small construction contract ahead of time. And that bid will then bid like what they charge per hour. We might not know what we're going to have them do in terms of the specific construction, but we can lock them in terms of the hourly cost. And that's how we compare who the lowest cost and best bidder is. So we do have that as well. I will say that we probably don't have it completely covered throughout the whole organization, but that's something that we've been working on with the departments to make sure we get those things in place. We also, another reason why that's good is then if you have an emergency purchase, meaning like our air conditioning goes out here and we didn't know it with one maintenance, we didn't plan on it. We have a contract in place and we have pricing in place to protect us when we need to do an emergency call out. And it's not just random, just call anybody you can find to come and fix it. So that's another thing that we are working on so that we have those on-call contracts to handle the unknown, but also the emergencies.
Okay, thank you.
One other thing, if I may, Shelley, or two other things. One, I see the thresholds have all been raised.
We're in
the-
2020. Mhm.
The note that I have here from 2020, and I don't know, maybe legal can help me. It still says, it has the language that we have stricken from our contracts, council. I just want to make sure that we don't find ourselves in violation of grant proposals with the information I have before me. If you look at the memorandum dated November 5th, 2020, the item number 2 talks about LBE, MBE, WBE, and I believe that it was change of policy that brought change to that.
That's right. Jeff Conway, legal. At this point, wherever that language appears, the general policy is not to enforce that at this time because of the executive orders that came down from the federal government.
So if we pass this resolution tonight, will this cause harm the way it's presented?
My opinion is no, it's a matter of enforcement. And so we'll just make sure that they understand that we're not enforcing at this time, even though that language is carried through and at some point could spring back into life later.
Yeah, I just wanted to ensure that whatever action we took here this evening wasn't going to cause us a problem. Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Commissioner Townsend.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. That was something I had noted to ask. So, and I get your point. If someone reads this, it appears as though we're acting in a manner contrary to the Attorney General. I'm talking about the U.S. Attorney General's dictates, but then we can offer the ordinance that says these things are in abeyance, so we're not enforcing them. But that was a question I had. Do we take this out? But then I remember that it's the enforcement or lack thereof that is now our policy. Thank you.
One clarification too, Commissioner, or commissioners, is on page 3 of the strike-through version in working with legal, because we did work with them on all of this. Under construction purchases, in the actual policy, the only place that it called out working with local women and minority businesses was there. And we did strike that language. It used to have at minimum written quotations would be solicited. And we certainly wouldn't prohibit ourselves from getting quotes from them. But that we didn't want to have that language in the actual policy, so that when we're free from the federal regulations, we'll be able to proceed with whatever our local and MBE, WBE policies are. But we did make that change here so that the memo goes away and the policy takes its place. And so we did strike that language out just out an abundance of caution. So we're not crossways with what the federal regs are.
It was just, I just wanted to verify through legal with the advice that we're taking on passing this resolution, that we as a committee don't put at risk what with the full commission has taken it upon themselves to approve. Okay, great. Any other questions or comments, committee? Seeing none, I'd entertain, before I do that, I'll ask the clerk if there are any comments from the public.
No comments were received.
Thank you. I'll ask clerk if any hands are raised by the public online who wish to speak.
No hands are raised.
Thank you. Is there anyone in attendance who would like to speak to this item? Please come forward and state your name and place of address. Let the record show no one stepped forward. Thank you. Committee, I would entertain a motion.
Townsend, move to approve the policy as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Was there a comment or question, Mr. Conlon?
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to make sure that the legal has the authority from the committee. There's just a few places where a random word with the merging of the text and things that just got in there, might be an extra space. There might be a place where there's a dollar sign that should be there. If legal has the authority to just make those clerical cleanups, I think it's implied, but just to make sure that we have that direction.
Thank you. If the maker of the motion would include that in the motion.
Do I need to restate it? I have no objection to that. So I move to approve the resolution, which is the updated purchasing policy as presented, and also include the authority for our legal department to make whatever clerical or grammatical changes are necessary.
Is that all right with the second? Clerical and grammatical corrections.
Yes, the clerical is, yeah, I second that.
Is that a yes for a second?
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Roll call. Wakes.
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
Stites. Townsend.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, committee. Okay, we'll let our staff get settled and get seated and we'll. Committee, our next item for action is 4.2 resolution again, cash investment policy annual update. This is the approval of a resolution to adopt the cash management policy regarding the management of unified government funds. I'll recognize Andrea Vineyard and Michelle Wooten from our Treasury Department for presentations and remarks. Ladies, welcome.
Good afternoon. We're here today to present the Unified Government Cash and Investment Policy. It's our annually required update today. Michelle Wooten, Deputy Unified Government Treasurer, here today, along with, again, Andrea Vineyard, Unified Government Treasurer, and Shelley Knieven, CFO.
Chair,
Oh, I'm sorry.
will we see this again? And the only reason that I'm asking this, Stites District 7, is because this is the last meeting of that some of the commissioners that are here tonight will be on to see this presentation. And if this is an annual update, I'm just thinking that maybe it should be held for the next EDNF. I'm just asking so that the new commissioners, the new chair, that everybody sees this up front. But if this comes back to us, again, within the year, but it doesn't say that in the name is why I'm asking. So would anybody have any thoughts on that?
I think this was one of the requests that we were going to have a while back, got postponed. It makes me no difference. I was going to ask what changes are on here because I haven't really seen the changes yet. If we're just going to run through the policy, I know there's the safety and a few things you're going to go through it. If I, as your chair, I'll do whatever the committee wants. And staff, if you have a recommendation. Jeff?
Mr. Chairman, I think there is a timing component here too, that it's an annual review, but it also is submitted to the PMIB board, the state board. And that's why I think in the materials, there was a request for fast track as well to get to the next.
Answers my question. Thank you.
You're welcome. I would assume that if there's any questions, the new orientation of the new commissioners could include this presentation quite quickly.
I was just going to say, Commissioner, so the changes here bring us into compliance with state law changes that occurred this year. So it's not discretionary. We have to be compliant with state law. But it's an excellent point that when we have a new constitution of the committee, when we do our quarterly investment update, we will also, outside of just a new orientation, but we will cover, here's a policy, here's what, here's how it works. We come forward every year. So we'll do some education along the way too for the new folks. So appreciate that, that feedback.
As we go through the updates, some are wording changes and some are changes that we need to present. So we're bringing this to you before you today is we have the authority to invest the funds that are being held or belong to the unified government. The purpose of this policy is to identify the policies and statements of the unified government regarding managing the UG funds. It's reviewed each year by the Cash Management Committee. Committee may recommend updates if needed, and the Board of Commissioners must review and approve any changes. Authorize and establish procedures for the management and investment of UG funds to achieve the policy objectives. And as stated, we are needing this to go along with our expanded powers application, and I'll go into that in further detail on an additional slide. So the minimum language changes, you'll see our references to the Director of Revenue County Treasurer has been standardized to Unified Government Treasurer to ensure consistent labeling across all documents. Section 9, the investment advisor added the following language as needed and determined by CFO. Section 14, authorized investments, which changed to that, and United States sponsored enterprises changed to United States government sponsored enterprises. And section 15, collateral requirements, corporations changed to enterprises. Did I skip the slide? Oh, sorry, I accidentally skipped the slide, please. The maturity target range. The current language is our core investments include all operating funds for the unified government, exclude bond proceeds, funds held by a bond trustee for the purpose of project construction, debt service payments, and debt reserves or other escrow requirements. Our new language is core investments include all operating funds of a unified government, excluding active funds or bond proceed funds held by a bond trustee for the purpose of project construction, debt service payments, debt resources, or other escrow requirements. We're excluding active funds from the determination of core investments. The maturity targets are provided as a guideline, notwithstanding the above maturity targets of 0 to 12 months, 30 to 60%, 12 to 24 months at 20 to 40%, 24 to 36 months, a range of 15 to 30%, and 36 months to 48 months, 10% to 20%.
If I may, Andrea Vineyard, Unified Government Treasurer, have we been coming to you with the quarterly reports? We're kind of bringing forth that benchmark. If you recall that we were outside the limit, but we had been talking about going forward, changing policy to make that make sense a little bit more. This is doing that. So instead of including, as Shelley and I have described in the past, the active, which is our 2 bank accounts, those overnight accounts into these maturity target benchmarks, doesn't quite make sense and it skews the benchmark. So we've now pulled them out and are going forward report based on the actual investment portfolio instead of the cash accounts that we have overnight. So this policy now changes that to exclude active funds.
And to say that a little further, Shelley, CFO, it's just the calculation of the benchmark. It's not what we're doing with the funds. So the cash account, as it always has been, is invested in overnight accounts. And right now we're getting about 3%, but it's gotten as high as almost 4%. And that is how those operating funds are handled, as well as our employee health insurance wellness fund. That's not changing. It's just in terms of calculating whether or not we're hitting our benchmarks for truly invested funds. We'll report to you on what those overnight investments are and what those rates are, but we will not include that in the calculation for the targets because they're not truly invested. And we had a lot of discussion with the cash management committee as well as the financial advisor as to whether or not they should be or shouldn't be. And we just had been including them, but they're really not invested funds. The idea of the invested funds is that you want to diversify the types of investments that you're doing. There's state law that governs what types of things you can invest in. You have to start with certificates of deposit. And if you meet a certain benchmark under state law, you have to go that route. But then you can also do treasuries or T-bills. And that's about it. But it skews those percentages in our reporting, and it looks like we're not meeting a benchmark just because we're really calculating it on something that shouldn't be included in the total. And so that's the change that we're making. It's not a change in practice. It's not changing the amount of interest that we will get, but it's just on how we calculate X% is in CDs and X% is in treasury. And our total diversification meets the policy requirements. So it's just clarifying that language a little bit. Frankly, I think under the current language, we could do this anyway, but we had been doing it this other way in the past. So we just wanted to be clear that we weren't going to include the operating money as invested funds because they're not truly invested. They are gaining interest, kind of like if you think about your own checking account might be an interest-bearing checking account. Okay, so we are going to continue to get interest, but it's not an invested fund. Invested funds are truly invested and restricted for whatever term that investment is set for, 12 months, 24 months, 36. We can go as high as 4 years, but we just redeemed our last 4-year bond. So we're down to the longest bond we have is 3 years. So it's just a clarification on what we include in the calculations and how we report that to you.
So if I understood correctly, and please help me, the cash overnight funds are going to be excluded, is not being reported. They're just being separated from the interest-bearing accounts that you all give us a report on the end of the year or monthly, quarterly that we've requested.
We'll report on it, and so you have the information. We just won't count the cash as an invested fund.
Okay.
So it's just kind of categorizing it differently, but we will absolutely report that information as to how those are doing.
Great. Thank you. Committee, any questions regarding that? Okay, please continue.
Andrew Vineyard, Unified Government Treasurer. Most of what you'll see next is going to be the new House bill. It's House Bill 2152. Referred to as the banker's bill, if anyone has, heard or seen anything related to that. As Michelle stated before, some of this we already went over in the slide before. I can go back if I need to, but it's just minimal cleanup language to mirror the bill, such as House Enterprise instead of House Corporation. The word what versus that, just to try to kind of make our policy adhere to the bill. The main change that we're going to talk about next is going to be related to how we do collateral, which is quite a change. Most of our collateral up until this point, we required at 105%. So instead of the 100, our policy since my tenure has been 105% of total deposits at any time need to be collateralized by your financial institutions. The new language requires that it be 102%. That's 3%. Some say that's not a lot, in my opinion. I mean, half a dozen here, half a dozen there. But it goes into some more procedural way is that we are no longer going to be the ones administering and processing collateral. We will take all of that into consideration for how we do procedure as far as managing it, but the state treasurer's office will be the one who will now be administering collateral and following this process, and we are the government agent that gets reporting on it. So the main part, sections 15, is how collateral will be allowed. We have to still accept and receive all collateral as deemed by the state of Kansas. Nothing's changing to what type. It's just we can only require our institutions to put forth 102 instead of 105.
So does this put us in a weaker position or a higher risk position?
I wouldn't say so. No, they're fully backed. And if we're doing a CD, it's an even stronger capability. And we meet with our outside counsel. And then of course, we just had a really good, strong conversation with a bond broker yesterday that the backed collateral that we have is very, very strong because we can't take anything outside of that by state statute. So as long as we receive and get the 102, we can't ask the bank to put any more than that any longer.
Yeah. This next one's the one I really have the concern about.
Yes. It all goes into play on the second part, which is the amount which we only allow up to 5% of. So that there is that indicator on the second section, but it went from 125% of market value down to 102. So that's quite a bit of a difference. We as a government haven't had a whole lot of this. It just doesn't come up. As far as I can tell, based on experience from us, we don't usually do bonds of states from the temp side, warrants of Kansas municipality. I've never done any of that. But now we know that if and when we do, we only get 102%.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yeah, just a quick question. So is the bank making the other 23%?
So it's not making anything. It's a collateral. So it's a backing and security, just like an insurance or anything that you would
right.
think in your personal life. It's just backing an investment. I might be able to explain a little.
Shelley, CFO, the difference is that it frees up their funds to reinvest and relend. It frees up their funds to relend it. So right now, let's say we have something they have to collateralize at 125, then that money can't be used to reinvest, like to relend. Now it'll be 102%. As long as it's 100% or more, we're fine. But this was a change initiated by the bankers because it gives them more flexibility to be able to invest more with companies and into communities because they don't have to set that. When the money is collateralized, it's set aside. It's not available to reinvest. So it was something that they set forward, and our Government Finance Officers Association didn't really oppose this because, again, we're so limited on the types of things that we can invest in that are very conservative, very backed in terms of not having a risk. And this is above 100%. So our funds are perfectly safe.
Or is this just UMB Bank alone?
Oh, no, it's any bank.
Okay, thank you.
And it's really not a bad, it's still at 100%, as you stated. It allows them the other 23% to use as they see fit in financial currency. The question I would have is if the bank failure occurred and they wanted to negotiate down the amount of collateral that they had us at 125, to negotiate down to 90 is one thing, but to be at 102 and negotiate down to 75 is another.
That's an excellent point. That who the party is they'd be negotiating with would be the federal government, though. It wouldn't be us. Our
Right.
funds are protected. And so in the past, the feds and the state required these collateral requirements. And because they're wanting to loosen up the market a bit, to help businesses and reinvest, make more loans, make more house mortgages, then this allows them the financial cash flow to do that. But it doesn't change our risk portfolio at all. We would not, every investment we make is fully secured. The reason why we do that overnight investment, there's beyond just making interest. There's a reason to do that. And all large accounts, corporate or governments do this because when you invest it overnight, it protects it and it's not subject to the 250,000 FDIC cap. It's actually protected. And so doing that every single day is a way that we protect our dollars. And it's not, we don't have to rely upon that FDIC insurance. So from a risk portfolio, we're perfectly fine. This was an effort, and it's not a bad thing that the bankers are wanting to infuse some money into our economy. And this is throughout the state of Kansas. This isn't unique to us, but it doesn't put us at any risk, which is what we care about the very most.
One other scenario, if I may, the bank finds itself in receivership and those our investments are not matured yet. And so we lose the compounded interest on that investment. Do they still cover it at 102%? Or how does that work?
So our investment is secured, depending on the type, but by the federal government. The true investments, the certificates of deposit, the treasury bills, the agency funds. So we're still protected. We wouldn't be in any lesser position because of this.
Thank you. I'm familiar with FSLIC, FDIC, and all of the insurance companies. So, thank you. Committee, any other questions? Seeing none, please continue.
And here we have a few key takeaway policy items I just want to point out for you. In the packet, you received the cash and investment policy. A few things on page 1, it identifies policies for responsible management of the UG funds. Also on page 1, the policy states that it should be adopted by resolution of the board annually after being reviewed by the cash management committee. On page 2, the cash management committee members, we have voting members, which is the chief finance officer, the clerk, treasurer, and chief counsel. Non-voting is the legislative auditor, accounting manager, cash manager, and member of the municipal advisory. At the time, Baker Tilly. Our diversification rule is that on page 5 is protect funds due to issuer defaults, market price changes by institution type and maturity date. Page 11, want to point out the local emphasis is that funds must first be offered to eligible institutions with a branch located in Wyandotte County. Point 6, we want to point out the collateral requirements is that must pledge securities owned directly or indirectly at the market value equal to 102% of total deposits at any given time. And as stated earlier, the expanded investment authority, we want to point out, it allows the UD to extend our maximum maturity from 2 years up to 4 years. And that is our application that we submit yearly along with our policy adoption.
And the Pool Money Investment Board, PMIB, is still in very strong support of this, I'm sure.
Yes, this is driven to that. Application is annual. It's due in November, including an approved policy is required, including that bankers bill. All of that has to be included with this when we send it off when we're done.
Great. One last question, if I may. I noticed on staff qualifications, it says the unified government shall hire a cash manager or shall retain an outside manager to manage investments.
Shelley can even CFO. So we were being charged a fee to have a financial cash management advisor, except for they didn't actually manage our investments. We do bids. We look at the bids, we make the decision. But there are times that we want specific advice. And so what instead we changed it to, it was a cost saving measure. We're not going to have a standing fee, that we pay. But if we need a financial investment advisor, we have them on a retainer on contract, and we can certainly do that. If our committee wants some additional advice, but I mean, frankly, what we do is so straightforward and so risk adverse. We were simply paying money for a group that, in that case, wasn't really doing anything. So we thought, well, let's change the way we do that and not have that fee. And it was, $7,000 to $8,000 a quarter. So it added up. And so we changed the policy. So it wasn't saying we have to hire them, but we can. Absolutely. And if we had something that was odd or different, or a statute came out that was questionable, we didn't understand how that would impact us, we would absolutely work with the experts on that.
Well, I have a question because it says that you shall hire. And I want to ensure legal that if, Shelley, if that is your perception, that it says may or shall hire under, at the leisure or at the request of the CFO or whatever. But right here, it just says staff qualifications, unified government shall hire a cash manager.
Are you in section 8? Are you referring?
I am. That's exactly what I'm looking at, section 8.
So I think it's separate. Andrew Vineyard, Unified Government Treasurer. Cash manager is a dual role with the deputy treasurer in my division. So treasury office, that's Michelle Wooten today, which would have been me prior to that. So as part of that role, Shelley obviously moved me into treasurer, and then we sent her to training so she would become eligible based on qualification.
So you are classified as a cash manager. That would have been the easy answer. That would have been the easy answer. Thank you.
Next section is investment advisor, where Shelley was going, I believe.
Okay, I read these documents and I underline these words, and small words do make a big difference. Okay, any other questions, comments of the new policy? Commissioner Stites.
It's District 7. Thank you again and Andrea, and I noticed that you had kind of looked over at me when the comment was made about the financial institutions that have a branch within Wyandotte County, that they have first look at this, and I appreciate that. So my follow-up question on that would be, are many of those taking advantage of this opportunity for local banks to be utilized in Wyandotte County?
Not as many as we would like. So we do send out a yearly annual certification to all our local branches and to get their interest in being able to bid on investments for the unified government. This year, we didn't get very many back. So I think we got 3 local branches back, so.
When we do the bids, we end up getting probably 3 to 4 bids each time. We have investments that have redeemed, and then we're going to reinvest those funds. But I think that the collateral change may help with that.
Okay.
Because that helps the smaller banks that don't have the ability to set aside as much in terms of funds. And the way that we've approached doing our investments is we put out options for people to submit. They can do a CD, they can do a smaller amount, a bigger amount, and then we compare everything that they have submitted, and then we look for what's the best, if you would say, portfolio investment based on what was submitted. So we're trying to give flexibility to help those smaller banks.
Well, with this threshold being relaxed, and the ultimate goal is for those smaller banks to have money to put back into our community for,
Yeah,
multitude of reasons, so that we can have that investment back into our community. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
absolutely.
Any other questions or comments? Committee? All right, seeing none. I'll ask the clerk if there are any comments, written comments from the public.
No comments received.
Thank you. Is there any hands raised from the public who would like to speak online?
No hands are raised.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to this item? Let the record show no one stepped forward. Committee, I'd entertain a motion to approve the resolution as presented and discussed.
Motion to approve it and to fast track. What's the next commission meeting? January 8th?
Commissioner, we don't need a fast track. It will come up on December 18th.
Townsend second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution on the cash investment policy. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Roll call. Wakes.
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
Stites. Townsend.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Vote is 5-0. The motion carries.
Thank you, committee. Our last item this evening and the item for discussion, we'll let staff get seated. And I know Mr. Doppelman is going to be joining us. The last item this evening is an ordinance amending Chapter 15, Article 4 of the fireworks policies in the city. It's the amending date and time sale of fireworks. And committee, this is something that was asked for a little over a year ago. And we have it before us this evening. Apologize for rushing it, but this was something that was asked and we wanted to get it addressed moving forward. So I'll recognize a representative from our legal department for presentation and remarks. And I believe it's going to be Jeff tonight, or
I'll be taking that. This is Delaney Lankachandra with the legal department.
could you speak into the microphone a little bit? I've got a fan that runs right back here that makes it very difficult to hear here. I needed to change seats a long time ago.
Delaney Lankachandra with the UG Legal Department. The current fireworks ordinance for the UG allows sales starting at June 29th through July 4th. These are the temporary fireworks vendors. This ordinance would push the start date back to June 27th. That would put us in line with Edwardsville, Bonner Springs, and Shawnee, as well as a few other jurisdictions in Kansas. It would also soften the hard 10 p.m. sales stop time and allow customers who are in the fireworks sales location to purchase fireworks after 10 p.m. if they are there before the closing time.
Simple, straightforward. Makes it uniform across the metropolitan area that we deal with. Mr. Doppelman, any comments, any questions?
John Droppelman, Fire Marshal for Kansas City, Kansas Fire Department. Was instructed by my boss, Chief Rubin, to present his stance on fireworks. He follows NFPA's recommendation that consumer fireworks shouldn't be sold and discharged. Let the professionals do it. However, our city has adopted it. We do it. So on the first point of moving the sales up earlier to the 27th, I don't have an issue. I just want it to be open, honest with you all, that this year, the 28th and the 27th will be on a Saturday and Sunday, which means an overtime cost to provide fire prevention, to provide those inspection services, which will run about $6,500 for those 2 days. We are on the current, next year, we'll still be on our reduced overtime budget, which fire prevention has zero overtime out of that budget. We kind of factored in permitting fees last year to cover the 4th of July cost to help us stay within the revenue neutral budget realm. So if you're going to extend those days, it's going to cost the city some money for fire prevention. Talking about the time cutoff, that's the one I have the most problem with. There is no way for us to know who's in a tent at 10 p.m. when there's only 6 or 7 of us going around. We can't be at all the tents at once. So who's to say somebody's going to let somebody in at 10:30, they finish shopping at 11:30. It's going to extend your costs for overtime for inspectors to go out and do that. I believe state liquor sales say 10 o'clock, that's it, not who's left in the store. So if the few tent owners, managers have a problem with a 10 o'clock sales cutoff, then you should just move it to 11. However, moving it to 11, when do we stop allowing fireworks to be discharged? 11 o'clock. So now you're going to have people going home, and that's where all our complaints come from. It's 11:30, it's midnight, it's 1, people are calling my office, they're still shooting fireworks down the street. So you're going to complicate that problem. There's no way for us to tell who's in the tent or who's not. So that's why there's that hard line. To extend the sales later, and I think you need to get some data from the police department, but the later you leave these tents open, the more they succumb to robberies and bad things. You would have to get the stats from the police department. I know when I roll up onto them and into them, once it gets dark, they're like, oh my God, thank God you're here. We had some people that when they saw you took off running, or there was some cars parked here, a lot of stuff happens after it gets dark. So you're increasing the potential for that kind of stuff to take place. So I just need you guys to look at all that when you make your decision.
Committee comments, questions? Commissioner Lopez?
Well, I appreciate that, but people shoot fireworks off all the time anyway, regardless if it's the season or not. Better than gunshots, but that happens anyway. But I see your point now. Now on you said the 28th, 27th, 28th is on Saturday, Sunday, right?
Yes, the 28th will be Sunday, the 27th will be Saturday. So
Right,
it will be
that's what I'm saying
2
here.
full days. If it was during the week, the inspector's already on duty until 5. So typically it's about 5 hours, 6, depending on if you want to stretch it to 11 to close them, per inspector that they're working after hours. But on a weekend, it's 12 to 14.
So what if, and this is just to make sure they're compliant when they open?
This is compliant for sales all throughout the day.
Okay. I just didn't know if you could set an
We are,
appointment on
we're
the.
going from stand to stand constantly. We probably visit them each stand probably 10 times every day, maybe more.
All right, thank you.
Commissioner Wake, Mr. Wakes, I'm sorry.
Stevie Wakes. So you're saying that already they have in place where Edwardsville and Bonner Springs have sales from July 27th until June 27th to July 4th?
UG Legal, yes, that's June 27th.
So those are the same, they're within the same jurisdiction, Wyandotte County as well. Edwardsville, Bonner Springs, they are part of Wyandotte County. So yeah, I'm not disputing whether they have different departments, but I'm just saying they're part of Wyandotte County. This is unified government, and that's why I'm saying that. So why would we be different, than the other municipalities if they're all within Wyandotte County? I'm just saying to maintain uniform, which I believe that's why you're bringing this. I can see why we would maintain that, and yes, it will cost the unified government an extra. Did you say $6,500 to do so? And to maintain uniformity, I think it's worth the cost personally.
You can offset some of that cost by increasing the permit fee. It's up to you all.
Yeah. Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you, Townsend District 1. Thank you for the insight about this year, what the additional costs would be. Inspector Doppelman, I wasn't even considering that, but what I am considering is the number of calls and complaints, written and oral, that I've gotten from a huge number of constituents, or a lot of number of constituents in District 1 about having fireworks shot off at all. And even though I know the objective is to make our ordinance synonymous with the other jurisdictions within Wyandotte County, what it does is open the floodgates further for people to start shooting fireworks sooner. And that is the real problem I know my constituents would be looking at. So with their complaints still ringing in my ears from July, how soon fireworks are begun to be shot. Because what is the first date you can legally even shoot fireworks?
July 2nd.
July 2nd. Okay, so this is going to enable people to buy them earlier. And unfortunately, we have people who are not going to follow the law, so they're going to start shooting them earlier. And then you've got people who are going to be shooting on July 4th, even after the time. What's the latest on July 4th you can shoot legally?
11 p.m.
Okay, well, I know I'm hearing at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. So anything that's going to help people who are not, and we got great people in Wyandotte County, but when it comes to these fireworks and 4th of July, it seems like the worst natures seem to come out with that. So in behalf of those people who wrote and I passed on to you all, I will not be in support of this for those reasons. Thank you.
Mr. Wakes?
Need your mic on, please.
Thank you, Stevie Wakes. The request was to extend it 2 days. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Lopez and then Commissioner Stites.
Shelley Kneven, I have a quick question. What kind of revenue does the fireworks stands bring in the past, last year?
I don't have the specific amount, but each tent has to get a permit that is $300 to $400, if I recall.
So business licensing offers issues the city's permit, and it depends on the size of the stand, but it's about $1,100. And then the fire department, we have an operational permit that I believe we set at $250 last year. So you're looking at $1,300 to $1,400 depending on the size of the stand. There is sales tax revenue that comes in. I was off half of this year, off with medical reasons, so I was not here to do a presentation for the annual fireworks report, but each September-ish, business licensing gets a report from the state on what tax revenue was given back to, was brought into our city. I haven't seen that in a year and a half. It seems like it's about 56,000. It seems like on average, it never fluctuates all that much. Depends on if the stand owners are honest about what they report or not, because it's a hard item to track.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Stites and then Commissioner Townsend.
Stites District 7. If I'm not mistaken, I think you can go to Missouri right now and buy fireworks today, if you'd like to. So if you wanted fireworks, you could go get them today and then go shoot them off at any time you wanted. So to restrict our small fireworks stands, some that are ran by 4-H or ran by Kiwanis or ran by a church group that is trying, this is their annual fundraiser. I think the amount of time that we could extend that for them to maximize profit would be a good thing. Also, if Chief Rubin would like to flex his hours on those 2 days to help out with inspections, it wouldn't cost us any additional money. I think that would be a good steward of the fire department. I don't know if on July 27th through the 4th or 5th, whatever the last day was for sales, if you guys have a fire department or academy going on or not. If you do, I would understand why you couldn't. But if you don't, maybe those officers that aren't in an academy, those fire training chiefs that aren't in an academy could go out and run inspections without an additional cost. Thank you.
Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you. Question, Mr. Doppelman, are there any residency requirements for someone to get a license to run a fireworks sales shop? Do you have to be a resident of Wyandotte County to have a fireworks stand in Wyandotte County?
So to own the stand, no. There are stand owners, I believe there's one from California even, to apply for the stand permit and to be the applicant, you must reside in Wyandotte County. So I'll see if I can provide you that data. It's on the applications that business licensing gets each year, but you do not have to be a Wyandotte County resident to own the stand, only to apply for it and manage it.
Say that again. You don't have to be what?
You do not have to live in Wyandotte County to own the stand. You only have to be a Wyandotte County resident to apply for the permit to manage it for the owner.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So yeah, what you're looking at is the money is probably not staying here in Wyandotte County. It's going out the door. Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Mr. Doppelman, this ordinance was brought forward due to some concerns that some of the small businesses had had. I'll address the first one, the fair and equitable between Bonner and Edwardsville and KCK. It only makes sense to have everything uniform. I know some years this fall on Saturday, Sunday, some days it won't. How many inspectors do we have making the inspection?
We have 6, and then myself, and if I have an investigator on duty, they're also out helping out.
Okay, thank you. And I think Commissioner Stites came up with a great idea because it cross-trains and allows those starting on the department a chance to see and identify some eyes. I know we have a lot of firefighters show up at community events throughout the day, no matter where we're at, whatever we're doing. And it's good to see our department and our public safety officers out. I don't know why they couldn't do the same thing a couple of times during during that time of the year. But this was brought forward due to the fact that there's not some continuity. And I think the example that Commissioner Townsend presented, that if somebody went to Bonner Springs or and got their fireworks, came back and shot them, they're going to be out there 2 days earlier. The uniformity is something that we should look at across the community. The second thing I want to talk about is the hard close. A number of them have stated that they've had, the department has come in and request them to shut down their cash registers hard at 10 o'clock. And they've had clients with baskets and or product standing in line and they couldn't sell them and they had to restock. And they stayed later doing the restocking versus being able to put a gate across or shut and lock the door for the vendor to finish the sales that were in there. And they really felt that was unjust and really unfair to them because it gets into their pocketbook. So that was the other issue. But the one issue that you mentioned, and I'm glad you brought it up because I had received a letter and a couple of phone calls during the inspection process. And this letter was not from you, Mr. Doppelman. It was somebody else in the department. But you said there was a discretion. This year you raised it to $250. I know I received a phone call from 2 vendors and they asked that I not mention their names because they're concerned about retaliation. And that concerns me when they're concerned about the retaliation aspect. But does the fire department, when they went in, they talked about raising the additional fee, and it was raised because of revenue neutral, that the commission chose to go revenue neutral. So you were coming to the businesses and hitting them up with a higher fee. Who has the liberty to set those fees? Does the chief have the liberty to set those fees? Because I just, as a member of the commission, I brought this forward to the administrator and he was not aware of that. So I'd kind of like to get some clarity as to who has the authority to set the fee structure and not the day of the inspection, but a letter should have gone out stating such prior to the inspection so that vendors could have had a better understanding of what was coming. So Shelley, you had your hand. I'm sorry, Mr. Doppelman. I should have addressed it to whoever, but Shelley, go ahead, please.
So Shelley Knieven, CFO. So all fees have to be approved fee changes have to be approved by the county administrator. That authority is delegated and we do that on an annual process. We're doing that right now. And if anything exceeds the CPI, we require written justification. And there were a few requests this year that we're following back up with departments as to why they're making the requested changes. But that has to be approved by the county administrator. We're highly sensitive to increasing fees. And so particularly given the economy in general, aside from revenue neutral should have nothing to do with it. The fees are the fees and we collect the fees. Last year, I will tell you that the county administrator almost across the board said no increases. Even though departments requested that, but across the board had said no increases. This year, we have some modest increases, maybe 3%. We have a couple requests for 5%. We're requesting justification for that. It may or may not get approved. There has to be a justification for that. So we're, like I said, highly sensitive to making sure we're business friendly. But that's fees across the board. That could be fees at the golf course, which are also included in the contract. that we have with the vendor that manages it. It's the fees at the pool, it's the fees for business licenses, it's all of the different fees. The actual document is 74 pages long, but I have it separated by department. But we also publish that on our website. I will tell you that with staff turnover, there was a year or two that we had the out-of-date fee schedule of fees on our website before I came, and we got that back up to speed. And now we're going through a routine process so that we can look at that, but it has to be approved by the county administrator.
Well, and I appreciate that. I know when I approached the county administrator about it, he had no knowledge of it. And when I shared with him that it was stated it was due to revenue neutral by those that came in, and I do have a copy of the letter, one of the letters that was submitted to me, and it doesn't mention revenue neutral, but it does mention that Mr. Doppelman was off for the year. And I'm not going to name the employee that sent the letter out, but it did, it said, also note that the unified government has adopted a fire department permit fee that will need to be collected before your stand can officially open. Didn't mention that fee, but I got a call from a couple of the stands that said it had increased. And the reason why it had increased was because of revenue neutral. And I would like to know who, if the administrator has the authority, either he misrepresented himself to me just recently, which I don't like to think that was the case, or someone took the liberty to what I would consider taking a budgetary issue that some did not support coming from the commission as a whole and used it as a way to raise additional revenue through a process of inspection at their liberty. And if that's the case, it needs to be addressed. And I know some of those individuals wanted to be here, but as they stated, they sent me here instead because they're concerned about the retaliation. And they were not happy when that was told, because first thing that happened was, like I said, they called me about it. Most of them are in my district on the south side. So
Understood. And I'm glad to follow up with the committee and tell you what the 24 fee was and what the 25 fee was. I'll verify whether or not there was actually a change. And then I suspect, because when we go through the schedule of fees, like I said, it is dozens and dozens and dozens of fees. And so I think he probably was not connecting it to revenue neutral because they truly were not connected. It was that annually we were looking at fees and always have looked at fees. And we went revenue neutral this one year. It sounds like maybe there was some conjecture that there was a connection between them, but I'm glad to follow up and I'll email out the committee what did we do? And then any kind of explanation we had from the department, but I suspect that David's just not connecting the two. Because I know that I personally sit and meet with him. In fact, I'm going to meet with him Friday to go through all the requests for this year to go in effect for 26. So I think he's just not connecting them.
Commissioner Stites?
Stites District 7, well, I find that problematic. That if our county administrator is not connecting financial implications, and it was relayed to our chair, if he's not connecting that, that seems to be a problem. Thank you.
In all fairness to our small businesses, these are people that invested their time and energy, and I do understand the fire department has a responsibility that this came from to have two different individuals share that with me, that they were advised that the fee had gone up due to revenue neutral was very troubling, to say the least. And so especially when we'd gone through that process and the commission had supported it, contrary to what some commissioners stated after they supported it and where we are today, but to utilize a policy as a hammer to request more money from small businesses, it just didn't set well with some. And it was my responsibility as a commissioner to bring forward when I'm contacted by my constituents. So if you will follow up with that, and I won't be here come Thursday, but I believe that I will be in communication with my replacement about that. But yes, Commissioner Lopez.
Yes, Mr. Droppelman, let me ask you this. a normal fireman per se, that is at like, okay, let's say in Turner in the house 16, at the 16s. Could any regular fireman go to these, go to a fireworks stand that happens to be down the street to do the inspection, to do what you would do per se? Because I know you know, you can't be everywhere at once. Is there anything in his scope of work or his title that he can't do that you can do, or vice versa, as far as that's concerned?
So that can be done. It's called company level inspections. I would love to do that, but you would have to discuss that with the local to see if they approve of that. I
Okay,
know numerous departments use their on-duty companies to do base level inspections. So mom and pop stores, very simple businesses, maybe even like a stuff that doesn't have fire protection systems, hood systems, sprinklers, things like that, but just small general stores. That can be done. I can train somebody to do that. The more complicated stuff has to be done by inspector. There's 2-week-long classes. There's plans review stuff that have to be done. But a lot of municipal departments, they just don't have that staff. So their crews go out and do that. And then the inspectors, if they find a problem, they follow up. But our department doesn't do that. It's not negotiated with the union, so I can't speak for them.
I got you.
if That would go over well or not.
I got you. And then what if like, there's okay, let's just say there's 4 fireworks stands that are in the pretty close to 16s. Could a fire rig, if they're not obviously going to a call, just stop at each one and make sure that they're closing at the closing time?
Would expect they could.
Instead of having overtime boys run out there and do that.
Is it something, like I said, is it something that the local will agree to or not, or the chief will mandate?
Mhm. I'm just thinking outside the box here.
I've thought about all those.
And then what if fire inspectors from Edwardsville and Bonner was coming over here to kind of help you as well? I mean, they're running our calls, we're running their calls too, so why not mix that together as well?
I don't know if Edwardsville and Bonner have inspectors. I think their fire crews do it at Edwardsville. I don't think they have inspectors. I'm not sure about Bonner.
Wow. Okay.
They don't have a fire marshal, so I don't know if they have a fire prevention division.
How do they have fireworks stands then?
It's strictly up to them.
Okay, all right. All right, thank you.
It calls from the chiefs and stuff over there. They ask me different types of code enforcement, plans review, things like questions all the time. And I share my knowledge, but I can't go over and do anything for them. That's not my jurisdiction.
Right, no, I hear you. All right, thank you.
Commissioner Stites.
Stites District 7. The last thing that I will bring up, and I should have earlier, and I apologize, is when they talked about the security aspect of it, that folks, all fireworks stands have the ability to hire an off-duty police officer or security or sheriff's department or somebody to offset that security risk. And that could be there also to enforce the timing that we were talking about, that they don't come in past 10 p.m. Thank you.
Ms. Knieven.
So that I can go ahead and get you the answer now and not follow up since you won't be here. I've got the memo from the fees that were changed, which were very few this last year. The fireworks stand fire permit / inspection fee was new in 25. It was $250. In the past, we were doing the inspections, but not charging anything. So this was a new fee. So that's probably why you got feedback from individuals. We had a few places. There was a gap that there wasn't a fee, and that to be consistent with what others do as well. The fire department had looked at what others charge. Another example, just so that you have this, is that false alarms on fire and police, the number of false alarms and the charge that you get for a false alarm was changed as well. So again, they do a good job looking to see what are others charging to try and help and cover just their normal costs. But that was a new fee, so that's why you got the change or got the feedback likely. And then they've always had to get the occupational license. That wasn't new, but they had to get also an inspection fee. Same with if you did a fireworks display, like a commercial display, that was also a new fee, and that was $210, one-time fee. Inspection fee one time, not for the, what'd you say, 10 times a day that they go out during the period of time. It's just one fee.
And what was it in 24?
It would have been zero because it was a brand new fee.
And that was put in by the administrator?
I'm looking at the approval memo right here,
What's the date on that?
April 3rd, 2025.
Because that was not what he communicated to me.
I'm having not been a part of that conversation, I apologize, but I will discuss that with him, particularly Friday. And maybe because now we have our biweekly commission updates, when we change those fees, what we did is summarized any changes, both if it was reduced or if it was changed in a memo. Otherwise, it wasn't put in the memo because there's a lot of different fees for a county and a city. So we tried to make it more succinct in the summary, but he did sign off on that, and I'll make sure that he finds a way that we can communicate that with the commission if there's changes.
Change happened.
Mr. Weeks, we need your microphone.
It was Stevie Wakes, and the change occurred during the second quarter of 2025, not.
Yeah.
not-
And again, we had a couple of years due to turnover where the proper process where the department submitted and the administrator was approving wasn't being followed, and it was just kind of ad hoc.
Thank you.
So one of the first things I did was say, we need to have a process that's followed, and the only one that can change these fees is the county administrator. And so now we're trying to do that in December for January. But again, he and I both are reluctant to make changes to the fee structures. It needs to be well justified.
Commissioner Stites.
Stites District 7. So I think that, and I don't know, maybe it's through legal, but if there are going to be any fee or rate changes that affect the elected body's constituents, I think the elected body needs to be made aware of it so that when we are approached with these concerns, we have an answer for them. So I don't know how we structure that or how we make sure that that happens so that if in fact this was done because of revenue neutral as a retaliation type thing, I think that's not good. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Stites. Okay, we have a opportunity here. Is there anyone, Madam Clerk, is there anyone online who would wish to speak to this?
No hands are raised.
Is there anyone sent in written comment?
No comments received.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak to this item? Let the record show no one step forward. Committee, I'd entertain a motion for approval for the resolution.
Motion to approve as submitted.
Wait a second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Roll call, Wakes.
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
Stites. Townsend.
No.
Burrows.
Aye.
The vote is 4-1. The motion carries.
Thank you. Committee, that's the end of our business for the day. Committee, I do want to thank you for your patience with me over these last 8 years as your chair. It's been my privilege and honor to serve each and every one of you and serve with each and every one of you. Staff, thank you for your patience with us and your guidance throughout the years. You all be missed. It's been my honor and privilege to serve the great people of Wyandotte County. Have a Merry Christmas, and I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
Wakes.
Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you. I'll make that motion, but since this is my last meeting on this committee, I too would like to thank all the excellent work done by staff here now in the last 12 years that I've served on this committee. Appreciate you all and those in our community who have come out to these meetings. Thank you. Motion to adjourn.
And before I give the second, let me express my gratitude to you, Mr. Burrows, and you, Ms. Townsend, for your work, Commissioner Burrows, Commissioner Townsend, for your work on this committee and for what you've taught me as a member of the board of this particular committee. Thank you so much. Wake second.
Madam Clerk, we have a motion and a second for adjournment. Please call roll.
Roll call. Wakes,
Aye.
Lopez,
Aye, and I want to say thank you to Commissioner Burrows and Commissioner Townsend. Thank you.
Stites,
Aye, and also, with appreciate working with you on this committee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Townsend,
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Vote is 5-0. The motion carries.
Thank you, everyone. Have a Merry Christmas.
You as well. Yeah, I'm gonna miss these guys. Whoever takes on next.
All right, y'all, we're about to get started momentarily. Just want to make kind of a PSA. This is not the Board of Zoning and Appeals or the City Planning Commission meeting. So I understand we have an additional meeting that is happening at the same time simultaneously. That meeting is on the lobby level in the commission chambers. Okay. All right. So this is the Neighborhood and Community Development Standing Committee. That is the meeting that you are at. So just want to make sure folks are aware in case there's any confusion. We'll get started momentarily. Thank you. Okay, I just got the go ahead from clerk, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. My name is Commissioner Andrew Davis, District 8, and this is the Neighborhood and Community Development Standing Committee for December 8th. Before I call the meeting to order, I want to announce that some committee members, staff, and the public are attending remotely via Zoom as well as on site. All participants joining by phone should mute their phones when not speaking to avoid background noise. When speaking, please speak directly into a microphone to ensure everyone listening is able to hear your comments and to ensure a clear record is made. During the meeting, please make sure that you announce yourself by name and title every time that you speak so that the public that is observing knows who is speaking. This is critical given the number of remote participants and is current guidance from the Kansas Attorney General. The public is allowed to participate by Zoom or submit comments by email prior to the meeting, and those comments will be included in the record of this meeting. The public may also indicate their intent to provide remote public comment by contacting the clerk's office by noon on the day of the meeting. The public also have the opportunity to provide brief comments either by telephone or via Zoom from the 5th floor conference room of the municipal office building. If public comments are allowed on an agenda item, comments should be limited to the topic of that item. Disruptive comments and behavior are not permitted and may result in removal from the meeting. I will now call the meeting of the Neighborhood and Community Development Standing Committee for December 8th, 2025 to order. Clerk, can we have the roll?
Roll call. Hill,
Here.
Ramirez,
Here.
Townsend,
Here.
Bynum. Here. Davis.
Here. Thank you so much. We have all of our members that are present, and so thank you all so much. I will ask if there are any revisions to this evening's agenda.
Michael Sutton, Redevelopment Coordinator. Yes, Chair, we do have some revisions to tonight's meeting on item WOPT 20. This one had a little bit of a mix-up on the application. This application is actually it's two split applications. Part of it's for a yard extension, and then the other two lots, a total of 3 parcels, are for a garden.
Gotcha. And committee, just so you all are aware, that is item 4.5. So it's the last item on our agenda. And so we will revisit that towards the end just to make sure that folks are aware. And we do have the applicant present as well in case there are questions. Any other revisions from staff?
Yes, we do have a couple more. My apologies, Commissioner. Item A2 from 4.2 is pulled per the applicant's request. Items A11 and A12 also from 4.2 were pulled due to conflict with CSO projects. Item B2 also pulled CSO conflict. And then from 4.3, item PT3 also pulled due to CSO conflict.
Okay, let's revisit that one more time for just 4.2. Which ones are pulled? You said A2. What were the other ones?
Yes, Commissioner. From 4.2, it's items A2, A11, A12, and B2.
Okay.
And my apologies, from 4.3, PT3, and PT15 is also CSO conflict.
Okay. And we will again remind the committee of these things as well. Just wanted to make sure that they are documented. Okay. Thank you so much. Any other revisions? Okay, let's go ahead and get the party started. We have the approval of minutes from our May 15th, July 29th, September 9th, September 30th, November 4th, and December 9th, 2024 meetings. So kind of closes out of the year. Any comments or is there a motion? Yes, Commissioner Bynum.
Move to approve those minutes and a question, if I may.
Yes.
We've basically drawn up to a year away, I should say, from being up to date. What's your best estimate of, I understand the staffing issue, and now you've got the new methodology to speed up the process of being able to bring forward the minutes for approval, and I really appreciate it. Do you have a timeline in mind of when you'll be even further caught up?
Yes, Clerk Sparks.
Monica Sparks, UG Clerk. So our plan at the current time, we are almost completely through 2024, including all standing committees and our regular commission, including planning and zoning. We have started as of November 1, doing the minutes current. So we will have January through October that we will work on as the backlog. Our intention is to have them done in the first quarter of 2026.
Great. Okay. Is there a motion, Commissioner Bynum?
Yes, Bynum moved to approve the May, July, September 30, November 4, and December 9 minutes for 2024.
Is there a second?
Townsend second.
Okay, clerk can get the roll.
Roll call, Hill,
Aye.
Ramirez,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
Bynum,
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
The vote is 5-0. The motion carries.
Okay. All right. The first item on our agenda is highly anticipated, at least from my end. It's hearing from our planning department on where we are at in the planning rewrite. Some of you may or may not be aware, this has been an undertaking that has gone and been handed off from multiple staff members, and there's also a grant associated with it. So don't want to steal all of your thunder, but want to hand it off to you, Ms. Mercy.
Thank you, Chair. Can we pull the? I'll just start by saying hello. My name is Alyssa Marcy. I'm the Long Range Planner with Planning and Urban Design Department. And I'll be providing an update on the zoning code update, which as our chair has said is kind of a long time coming and much needed in our community. So the current code that we have was originally written in 1984. There have been several piecemeal amendments since then, but as you can imagine, what our community looked like in the 80s is vastly different from the community that we have with us today. It's presented a lot of challenges to development and livelihood in Kansas City, Kansas. And our initial goal is to not only bring it to the present and think about the future and what this community wants to look like and what kind of uses that consists of, but also how can we remove a lot of those barriers to development and make things easier. One of the other challenges with our code too is it's difficult to understand. It's over 300 pages because of these piecemeal amendments over the last 4 decades. That makes it hard to understand, and so those are barriers to entry, even for folks who are, long time developers. So this particular code update, which is a full rewrite, started with a grant award. So the UG received $150,000 from Mid-America Regional Council's Planning Sustainable Places grant earlier this year. That was matched, or last year, I should say, that was matched by $150,000 from our planning budget from 2024. So that was a total of $300,000 that we had dedicated by the end of 2024 for the zoning code rewrite. It is a good start, but rewriting something at that length with that amount of technicality is more than $300,000. Most recently, we've been able to dedicate some additional funding from our planning budget, and another, it's about 210 really, and change to bolster that scope. Because currently with the 300 that we received, or that we had from the grant endeavor, that would not have gotten us to the finish line. So just a little background on our project team. So we have our primary consultant is Lisa Wise Consulting. They are based out of California, but they have done several zoning code rewrites and many other zoning related projects across the country. They are very experienced. I'm very excited about it. And they also have brought 2 sub-consultants on. So the first is Opticos Design. So this is more of a design firm, but they're actually known for their experience in specifically missing middle housing and different housing typologies. They're also the firm that started a trend that's happening across the country and is happening too regionally, where planning departments are creating pre-approved plans for housing typologies. So that really removes a significant barrier to housing development specifically. So they're a really good addition to our project team. If you're curious about what that means, I recommend Overland Park actually just released their own pre-approved plan sets. So you can kind of get a taste of what a program like that would look like. That won't necessarily be included in this zoning code rewrite, but we hope to inform something like that in the future. And then finally, Linchpin Ideas. So this is our local consultant for stakeholder engagement. It is a woman-owned engagement firm. And then internally, we also have a steering committee. So this is includes representatives from multiple departments. And we specifically wanted to engage these departments here because a lot of them are either affected by the zoning code in some way, shape, or form, or perhaps have a relationship with it or management of it. So the current project scope, so what I'm going to go over next, this is only assuming the $300,000. So this is only assuming the PSP grant award and our $150,000 match. But that grant has a deadline, as all PSP projects do. So the work for that must be completed by July of next year. We launched officially the zoning code rewrite in October of this year. So we had a kickoff. We had our consultants come to City Hall for 2 days. We gave them a tour of Kansas City, Kansas, and we met with 30 plus individuals that have had interactions with the code in some way, shape, or form, because we wanted to have them listen to folks who had, opinions or had suggestions or desires about the zoning code. So that included, we had folks from Wyandotte Economic Development Council, the Chambers, Home Builders Association, Build WICO, County Administrator's Office, all of the MBRs were invited to that, MBR directors were invited to that conversation as well. So, and we'll have a summary too of these findings that will be released soon, and I can share that with this committee. But we wanted to be able to give them the breadth of all of the different challenges that our community sees with the zoning code, depending on what they do or how they interact with it. So that's how the project kicked off. And then now really what we're doing is that second phase is the technical analysis. So like the chair said, there was an effort to rewrite the code back in 2019, 2020. So we had a zoning audit done with recommendations that came out of that audit. Unfortunately, due to COVID and changes in leadership, that project was not picked up. So part of the technical analysis does include reviewing that document. We don't want to, completely start from scratch when we know we have done some legwork. So there is a review of that. There is a review of all of our long range plans because those also affect our land use. And then also part of that technical analysis includes looking at best practices. So what's challenging from a zoning perspective with KCK is that it has so many different components or transects. If you're familiar with that word, that's, the fact that we have everything from agricultural areas to urban areas to suburban areas to industrial and everything kind of in between. There isn't exactly a one-to-one city that's like KCK. We can't say, oh, this city is shaped and exactly like KCK is. We should look at their code and get ideas from them. So we are in that kind of unique space. But instead, what we're doing is we're looking at best practices for all the different types of the code components. So, we're looking at maybe Overland Park for how they manage downtown, or Lenexa, we're looking at North Kansas City, seeing what kind of pieces we can pull from there. But we're also looking across the country too, because again, we are a very unique area and it's going to involve a lot of creative solutions to be able to bring this code to where it needs to be for the community. So as we move forward, once we have the results of the technical analysis, which will be kind of general recommendations on what's working, what's not working, and what do we really need to focus on, we will then have some more outreach. So we're going to follow up with those initial folks that we interviewed during the project kickoff. And then from there, we also have a website where we're going to be sharing updates and allowing for public comments. And also we're working currently with our planning commission. So because this is a code rewrite, all of this will have to come through planning commission and then go through board of commissioners for full approval once we have everything rewritten. What I think, and it'd be great to hear guidance on this too, is it's a lot of information that will be changed, right? The zoning code has so many different aspects to it, and to rewrite something that's 40 years old is going to involve a lot of change. So what we're trying to navigate right now is figuring out how do we adequately, once we do have recommendations on changes, how do we bring that forward to planning commissioners and then board of commissioners so that you are able to understand and digest all of that information and make decisions on it. So that's probably not going to happen in one meeting. This is probably going to have to be multiple meetings. So that's something that we're talking to our planning commission chair about, whether those have to be special sessions for the planning commission, which is unusual, but again, it's something that we really need to spend time on. So that'll happen around the beginning of the year. We'll do some more engagement too. Now that we have the additional funding that we've dedicated from this year's budget, we'll also be able to open up some more public engagement opportunities. But ultimately, what we're going to come out of just the MARC PSP phase, the part that's due in July, is going to be recommendations report. So if a framework of zones is essentially looking at all of our zoning districts, figuring out, can we combine some of them? Can we consolidate some? Are there some zoning districts we don't have that we need? So it'll kind of have a recommendation for that. And then a table of contents for the code rewrite. So that is where the grant is going to take us. And from there, we'll pick it up in July, and that's where the actual rewrite of everything comes from. And that's going to be pretty intensive because we're hoping to be able to make it a little more readable. The zoning code is in legalese. Most people don't talk or speak in legalese, and it can be difficult to understand. So that will be the next phase of the project. So again, we had public outreach during our kickoff, just those one-on-one interviews or small group interviews. We tried to reach the gamut of folks. Our public webpage is live. I should hope to share that soon, but that will also have a public comment component to it as well. And then of course, we'll be looking at doing some more tabling and community presentations. And like I said, trying to figure out the best process for how we actually introduce recommendations to Planning Commission and subsequently the Board of Commissioners. So I think that pretty much covers it. Questions?
Thank you so much, Ms. Marcy. I'm sure that the committee may have some questions or comments regarding this, but I want to do public comment first, and then we can come back and do that. Clerk, were there any comments received for this item?
No comments were received.
Any hands raised online?
No hands are raised at this time.
For the patient people here, would anybody like to come and speak to this item? Okay, let the record show no one has approached. I'll go ahead and close the public comment portion. Committee, this is for information only, and so there's no vote required. But again, it's just keeping us informed on something that is pretty significant for a community. Any comments? Yes, Commissioner Bynum.
Thank you. Bynum at Large, District 1. When we move into the grant-funded, focused public outreach piece, it strikes me that that'll be a pretty compressed time period. So for both that time period and the time beyond July 26, you said you've got a website stood up and ready to go. Will that be a place where we can sign up to receive updates? And secondarily, can you help the commission stay informed of the public outreach opportunities so that we can make sure that we share those opportunities as well with the NBRs, the neighborhood groups, anybody interested in this process?
Yeah, great question. Alyssa, Planning Department. So the website has a couple of different ways to engage. So the first is it will have essentially an open form that you can submit public comment into, and that is something that I will directly be gathering and passing along to our consultant team. And then there are two other ways on the website to engage. The second is that on the right-hand side, it will have an email listserv sign up. So you can sign up, and actually everyone who is already signed up, if you did during Plan KCK, you will be receiving updates automatically because this is an implementation item of Plan KCK. So it is connected. But the third then is, while we're going to identify opportunities to go out into the community throughout the next year plus of this process, there is also my contact information out there too. So if anyone would like us to come to your neighborhood group or your business or whatever it is, you can actually directly request a presentation or a conversation through me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I believe Commissioner Hill. Yep. Commissioner Hill, you have your hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you for the presentation from our staff. To the best of your knowledge, when we get past all the timeline issues, when do you think that this process will end with being able to be presented in its totality to the planning and zoning and the commission board?
Alyssa, Marcy Planning. Yes, a great question. So there are a couple of different ways we could approach this, and I think guidance would be great. But once we have the recommendations that come out, what I am thinking we'll do is start to pull together the subjects that are familiar. So maybe we have a topic on housing in the zoning code, and then we go forth with those recommendations to planning and then the Board of Commissioners. So we're focusing on it topic by topic. So it's going to happen gradually with the ultimate goal of finalizing in spring of 2027. However, I do want to caveat it because this does not prevent us from saying, hey, we have a really drastic need to address XYZ issue, which has happened this year even, right? With the Business Development Task Force has brought forward their concerns and those have been changed. So that can also happen concurrently and still be integrated into the code rewrite.
Thank you. Thank you for your question, Commissioner Hill. Yes, ECA House.
Yeah, Alan House, Assistant Administrator, and just to maybe kind of frame it up a little bit different is sort of chunking it out in pieces. And so, when the gonna get to the end, if there is an end, I mean, housing is a complex, with lots of different pieces on it. So taking different parts of this zoning code over a period of time. And so it could be that at the end, as Commissioner Hill was asking, it's really more of a cleanup and a legibility piece as opposed to,
trying to work through a whole bunch of different policy questions because those can be worked through by the Planning Commission and the full commission and the community along the way. And other communities, that has been a way that they've been successful in approaching this, topic of this kind of complexity and this magnitude.
Thank you. I do have a question if no one else has one. For how have other municipalities approached just something of this magnitude? Is it kind of a, hey, year and a half, right, 18-month or 2-year process? Is it, we're going to try to do the whole thing all at one time, one rewrite? Or is it kind of, we're going to have stages? Any insight on that?
Sure, Alyssa Planning. It's a bit of a mix of both. So I think with, for example, Casey Mo's most recent, and actually, Michael, you might be able to speak to this too. In some cases, when a municipality has decided to try to go through the entire thing, that has led to code updates that take a lot of time. So 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, sometimes even more. That is not my intention with this. I think we've waited long enough to do that. So I think, to Alan's point, the approach of chunking this out and figuring out which aspects are most important to address first will actually make it faster rather than trying to wait. But you see a mix of both across communities.
Gotcha. And Mr. Sutton, I don't know if you had more to add there.
Michael Sutton, Redevelopment Coordinator. Yeah, that's essentially how, excuse me, KCMO handled theirs, just chunked it out. And I know Lawrence did something similar. It took them still 2 or 3 years to get through the entire process. But as Ms. Marcy stated, just that's going to be the nature of it, just because you're rewriting such a large and complex document. So, but instead of trying to do it as one big, large, massive, all at once overhaul, look at it as a piece here, followed by the next prioritized piece, followed by the next prioritized piece. We've talked about pre-permitted plans, for example.
Yeah.
That could be something that could be tied in as into one of these chunks, and not that's not necessarily waited to be approved at the very end. That could be something that, well, hey, we have all this focus on it, we're ready to go, we have all the information. It'll be included in the rest of the code update, but we can get going on this right now. There'll be opportunities for other issues like that.
Sure. Yeah, Ms. Mercy.
I do want to add, so that brings up an additional opportunity that we have too. I think once we get the initial recommendations from the technical analysis, that will provide a lot of insight into maybe what some of our hot issues should be. But the health department also received a grant through the Health Forward Foundation. And part of that grant, $40,000 has been carved out specifically for the zoning code update as it relates to housing affordability. So we've been working with the health department as well as our consultant, Lisa Wise, because they're also an on-call, as to how we can best utilize that funding. And so initially in our conversations, and we know there's a need for housing in our community, we had talked about pre-approved plans, and where that conversation has kind of led us down to is before we even get to the point of asking for a firm to create a pre-approved plan set for us, we need to know which housing typologies our community actually needs. So that $40,000 from that grant will go specifically to that needs analysis to demonstrate what those pre-approved plan sets should be dedicated to.
Yeah, it's great. And I know we also allocated some dollars in the budget for pre-approved plans as well. And so we can, match that. And even with OP, I was talking with some folks over there. I think there's some interest in sharing some knowledge of what their experience has been and how we can leverage what they have for our efforts and make it a little bit more seamless and hopefully save some money in the process. So, okay. Committee, any other questions or comments regarding this item? Again, this is for information only. Yes, Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, Ms. Marcy. So beginning exactly when will there be, scratch that. Right now, could the average citizen go to the UG's website, and particularly a page for planning and zoning, to see what's going on with this process?
Yeah, so I was hoping to have the short URL set up by the time of this meeting, which is that short link. It is not quite there yet, but I will pass it out. I will send it around once it's done. The website does exist. So if you go onto the planning website, there is a zoning code update page.
Okay.
The only thing that I have not put on that yet is that public comment form, but the email sign up and the contact information about setting up presentation is on there. So by the end of this week, I will have that public comment form up, but you'll be able to see everything that's going on through that page.
Okay, that was the key thing I wanted to make sure I distinguished from the public website, public web page. Right now, any citizen could go to the UG website, look for planning and zoning and the rewrite. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Well, if there are no other comments, thank you all so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Marcy, as always. I'm hoping in a couple of months, we can get another update and see where things are at and inform the community and everyone else on how the process is going. But thank you for your efforts.
Great, thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and transition to the land bank portion. I know folks have been waiting patiently, so thank you so much for doing so. All right, whenever you all are ready, and we're starting with item 4.2, which is the land bank options with no opposition. So hand it off to either of you, Mr. Knapp or Mr. Sutton.
Thank you, Chair. Michael Sutton, Redevelopment Coordinator. Just a reminder with 4.2, items A2, A11, and A12, and B2 are all removed, or all been removed.
Thank you, Mr. Sutton. Can you remind us the reasonings for the removals?
Yes, my apologies, Chair. Item A2 was requested, was pulled by the applicant's request. Items A11, A12, and B2 all were CSO conflicts.
Gotcha. Okay. And throughout our process here, are we making sure that we are aligning with what the CSO projects are? That way folks aren't going through the process and then, right before it comes to committee, they're being told, I can't access that land bank parcel.
Right, Commissioner. And this was a mistake on my part. I got all the lots as hundreds of lots within these projects. And so it took me quite a while to get all of the lots removed from our internal system. I now have all of the lots removed from our internal system. There was just kind of one big push at the end of this month to get everything. So we shouldn't have this issue moving forward.
For sure. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And yeah, Commissioner Townsend, you have a question?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. For clarity, when you say, Mr. Sutton, that these were removed for, what did you say, CSO reasons? Just so the record is clear, what does that mean? What is the CSO?
CSO is our combined sewer, I don't know what the O stands for, but essentially it's the consent decree sewer separation project that the UGs and the EPA are working together with. So our public works team sent us all of their lots that will be needed for this project, and to ensure that we don't have to ask for these lots back after they've already been sold through the land bank process. That's why I've stopped these handful of applications from moving forward, so we don't have to go back and try to repurchase them later.
Right. So these particular lots removed for this reason will not be ever available.
So there's a little, Michael Sutton, Redevelopment Coordinator. I've heard that that's kind of a mixed bag. I've heard
Mhm.
some of these lots will indeed go back into the land bank's inventory. They just need them for staging or need the lot momentarily or temporarily.
Mhm.
Some of the lots will, however, remain unbuildable and
Okay.
not go back into the inventory. As far as what those lots are, that would be very specific to each design for each project.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. And as Commissioner Davis said, just for clarity, CSO standing for Combined Sewer Overflow. Projects that are happening on the east side of town for the most part. Many of them are listed in our consent decree through the EPA. And so appreciate that question, Commissioner Townsend, for clarification. Okay, let's get started with 4.2. Did you have something, Commissioner Bynum? Okay, yes. Mr. Sutton, take it away.
Michael Sutton, Redevelopment Coordinator. Item A1, 3025 North 43rd Street. Item A3, 1212 North 63rd Terrace. Item A4, 1608 North 61st Terrace. Item A5, 2921 North 56th Street. Item A6, 2921 North 56th Street. Item A7, 2539 South 13th Terrace. Item A8, 3505 Orville Avenue. Item A9, 1600 South 86th Street. Item A10, 3111 South 33rd Street. Item A13, 52 North 9th Street, 56 North 9th Street, 60 North 9th Street, 64 North 9th Street, 68 North 9th Street, 70 North 9th Street, 74 North 9th Street. Item A14, 910 South Faree Street. Item A16, 3530 Lust Drive. Item A17, 2730 North Alice Street. Item A18, 734 Gilmore Avenue. And I do want to make a note on item A19. This is actually the Peregrine Falcon RFP. It does still need to go through the land bank's approval process. That concludes all of the single-family homes. Commissioner, would you like me to do the multifamily as well, or?
Let's hold for that. For A5, what did you have? Just want to make sure it was correct
My
address.
apologies. For A5, 6214 Troop Avenue. Apologize.
Okay. Yes, you're fine. Yes, Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know we had addressed this earlier. It would be helpful, I think, as a matter of record and for the public, when these are called out, to have them called out by the applicant as well. You had the same catch I did, but that would be helpful, I think, for clarity and for the record. So as we go through this, might add a couple of minutes, but
Sure. Okay.
would appreciate that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Mr. Sutton, for the, I don't want to have you do this all over again. B, would you like for me? Okay, cool. So starting with B, if you just say the name of the applicant or the company, whoever, and then the address, that would be very helpful. All of these are on screen. They're also on the published agenda, so folks are aware so that they can see all of the information, including the applicant name and the address. This is on our agenda. No opposition, meaning there was no particular comments from staff or neighborhood groups that were received that would give anyone pause for these items. And so they are grouped for approval. Before I do that, I will do our public comment for the folks that are here. Clerk, for the items that were just read, for those addresses, was there a comment received for any of these items?
No written comments received.
Any hands raised online for the items that were just read?
There are no hands raised.
Okay, for the folks who have been waiting patiently here, thank you so much. Would anybody like to speak to the items that were just read? Oh, yes, Ms. Jefferson, I'm so sorry, I did not see your hand there. Yes, please come forward.
Good evening, Eleanor Jefferson, Kansas City, Kansas. I'd like to speak about item A19. I want to thank Commissioner Townsend and thank the Standing Committee for making this possible. Sometime earlier this year, Peregrine Falcon, as we all know, it's just a bunch of lots, and we were using the traditional land bank option to do that. Yet still, this was a development that had gone sour for about 25 to 30 years, including the TIF. And so it's with great pleasure that I'd like to submit this on the public record as an example of a successful collaboration between the neighborhood groups, the public, the government officials, Commissioner Townsend in lead. And also it has not been announced because this was not available for comment at the advisory board meeting. I think I know the person who answered the RFP. And if it is, then I'm very pleased about that because we have a beginning relationship. I will, however, say that unlike non-RFP land banks, normally there's a period for community involvement, neighborhood meetings, going over the plans and that type of thing. So my request would be either at this meeting to ask for a holdover or prior to it being approved by the Land Bank Board of Trustees, a holdover to allow, number one, first to meet the developer, look at the plans, talk about what the community is doing, the neighborhood group, the HOA, and that type of thing. So I believe I've said everything I intended to. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jefferson. For the folks that are here in person, would anybody else like to speak? Yes, please. We just need your name and city of residence. You have 3 minutes.
John Tell Jones. I represent Mosaic Companies, Mosaic Construction Company. We were the respondents to the RFP. We have since built houses in Peregrine Falcon, and we have met with the neighborhood group several times. This process kind of changed to an RFP prior to us building in there. So we did meet with neighborhood groups, HOAs, talk to different commissioners about this whole thing going on. So even though it seems like her concerns about not meeting with the neighborhood groups, we actually did. And we actually have provided plans and nothing will change from what we have been doing.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to provide public comment? Okay. Oh, yes. Please. Oh, Mr. Young, make sure the microphone is on. It should be green.
On?
Yes, it is.
Good evening. My name is W.D. Young. I'm the Vice President of Peregrine Falcon Home Association. Through this ordeal of getting builders down there, we've been having a whole lot of problems of who is supposed to meet with us and who is not supposed to meet with us concerning the building of the houses down there. We've had some developers down there, and the way it was set up, it was supposed to meet with Oak Grove and Peregrine Falcon to show the plans. This has not been happening. All of a sudden it's changed, and that's the way it was set up for we can have fairness of who's building down there and what size of house and what type of house. Now we got some contractors down there. We don't even know what the house is going to be like, and that's at 2604, which is not on the paper itself. So I'm speaking on behalf. I would like to go back and let's keep it that way. So if there's any builders that want to come down there, they got to meet with both the organizations to show the plans. That would like to put that in record. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to provide a public comment? Yes, please. And it's only concerning the items that were just read, the A items. Yes. Only for the A items. Okay, I'll go ahead and close the public comment. Committee colleagues, yes, Commissioner Townsend.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, I was gonna say, were there any comments? Yes, Commissioner Townsend.
Yes, thank you. We'll start with the Peregrine Falcon RFP. Even though these lots are land bank lots, back in March, this body publicly in this setting to get more, to be responsive to the concerns of the residents about the number of people who were coming in, who was meeting, not meeting, what the proposed homes might look like, the cost, the variation in design. That's when this body agreed that the RFP process for this particular set of circumstances, the Peregrine Falcon development would be beneficial. We hope to move this out of the actual land bank process that we know. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank our purchasing department, Ms. Reed, Ms. Houchins, all the other staff members who participated in the selection committee on September 9/11. I'll remember that for a different great reason from here on out. On 9/11, the requirements and the specifics of the request for proposal as to the Peregrine Falcon development was posted publicly. So anyone could see it, ask questions, and after the requisite time, a decision was made. So I have to ask council, can we now identify who the successful bidder was?
I'm sorry, I'm Jeff Conway Legal, and I've not been involved with this, so I probably better not opine either way.
Okay, well, if we can go on with this, the vote tonight, I know that, and I would like to thank her in her absence, Deputy Counsel Wendy M. Green worked on that project. So I can understand your hesitancy to get into that, but it's my understanding an award has been made. So to the request of the public for a meeting, that would be up to the developer, but it's the person that I know that's been selected, that company, I believe would be agreeable. I'm not going to speak for them. But I want the public to know, and it was part of the RFP, that there were specific things that were addressed in the RFP requirements at the request of the Peregrine Falcon Homeowners Association, 3 essential ones, that whatever was designed would be architecturally consistent with what is ever there. So you don't get, I'm a Miami Vice fan, the Miami Vice glass house and all that, or a little bungalow. So there will be architectural consistency with the look of the homes that are already there. The developer must follow the dictates of the homeowners association covenants. And to the extent possible, the pricing should be as similar as possible to the assessed value of the homes already there. So those things were included in the RFP, and the selector, the entity that was selected from the evaluation of the RFP committee committed to those things. So again, I think the selected entity should consider meeting with it, but I want to make it clear with the neighborhood group, but I want to make it clear that was not a condition of the award. So I have no reason to not want to see this progress tonight. And then when Ms. Green returns to this meeting, I would expect next week, I'm sorry, next month, you know, the name can be officially shared. So thank you for those people in Farragut, Falcon, the homeowners who worked with us to identify the particular concerns that were made a part of the RFP. And I wish nothing but the best of success for the successful identified developer. It's been a long time coming trying to fulfill that, those empty spaces. I think there'll be somewhere between 13 and 16 homes built, and there were specific timeframes also put in the RFP, so this is not dragged out. So I would encourage the successful developer to adhere to that, or else there will be repercussions that may see that land pulled back. That is the absolute last thing we would want. So thank you very much to all the staff that participated in this. You know, I'm hoping this will work, and if this is successful, as I'm praying that it will be, this application may have be suitable for other land bank properties that have been challenging in particular. So thank you, and thank you to this committee for having the foresight and trust to go through with this, and the staff that worked on it.
Thank you, Commissioner Townsend. Is that a motion for these items?
Oh, for all of them? Okay, well, I can certainly do that.
But before you do that, I'm so sorry. Hold your motion. Commissioner Bynum just told me she has a question. Hold your motion.
Thank you. I do have several questions. The first one is, Mr. Young, I thought I heard you say something occurring at 2604, which is on this list. So is some kind of construction occurring at 2604? I was confused by what you brought forward.
At the present time, there's no construction being done at 2604. This gentleman has had this property since 2002, on 22, and he has not progressed in any. And the problem with that is, if he starts, when is he gonna finish?
I see.
And that's
Okay.
my biggest concern, and we haven't even seen the drawings or anything. I brought that towards Judd, and he said there was no request that they would have to show us anything. How would you know that these houses are looking like the houses we already have there? We don't know what the square footage is. We don't know what it's gonna look like. So, I mean, he's done everything to avoid us, and he's seen us quite a few times. So he could have came to any meeting we requested.
Okay, thank you very much. I was getting a little bit confused in some of the comments. And I'll let you go ahead and respond to that, Commissioner.
Thank you. Well, I think the issue that staff has to resolve is to verify whether or not 2604 North 6 was actually a part of the RFP identified properties or not.
Got it.
That will deal with that. So either it was part of the RFP or it wasn't. And I can't answer that question. So our staff would have to verify whether or not that was part of the RFP or not.
Yes, this is Judd Knapp, Land Bank Manager. What W.D. Young's talking about is 2604 North Halleck,
Okay,
and that is not on our list.
different than what's listed here. Thank you.
Yes.
That's important.
And just
Very.
to interject here, we have 2604 North Sixth Street.
On
correct?
this list.
On this list. Is that correct, Mr. Knapp? I'm looking at it right here.
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay.
Okay.
Two different 2604s. Thank you very much. That's very helpful. A couple of comments on Peregrine Falcon. As Commissioner Townsend said, I do appreciate the staff that what I saw was just diligence on getting this RFP ready and out into the community. And Commissioner Townsend really should receive a great deal of commendation because I saw her just stay super focused in making sure this process was brought to completion and just how much I appreciate that. Just exactly the right person to do it, I will add, with your attention to detail. What I would like to know with some clarity is, what is this action? What is the actual action we are taking tonight on item A19, Peregrine Falcon RFP?
It's
Mr. Knapp, yeah.
Jill Knapp, Land Bank Manager. It's to approve the option agreement for those 18 lots.
Okay,
And Commissioner,
go ahead.
I can interject here just a little bit. So although the parcels within the RFP were mentioned and of course were a part of, and they are the award, because it's still land that's in the land bank, staff could not unilaterally go ahead and award those pieces of land without our approval as land bank
Okay.
trustees, regardless of the RFP process.
RFP.
The award doesn't really mean anything if we do not put our stamp of approval.
So we have to do this part. And that's why I was just curious, if we haven't named the award, we are approving these options to whom or who, whichever of those words is correct. You know, I just don't know. And I'm good with if legal and the department are all in concurrence with the fact that we are awarding land bank options on this agenda.
Yep.
To a name not known to us.
Sure.
Publicly.
And I'll ask Mr. Conway here, would it be cleaner for within that specific item of A19 for us to say that we are approving staff's recommendation for the Peregrine Falcon RFP? Would that be a cleaner way of getting this through, as opposed to just approving the Peregrine Falcon RFP as it reads right now?
Well, I haven't discussed with staff yet, but if that sounds like a viable option, I think we can probably do that.
Yeah. It would then give kind of that some clarity. So anyway, Commissioner Bynum, was there more that you wanted to
I
add?
had another question on A13, but
Okay.
I want to.
Yes, Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Within the RFP, there are specific guidelines, requirements, timing, all of this. So I hesitate to say awarding the option as we traditionally do on these others. There are specific guidelines for the award under the RFP. So I think the more appropriate motion for this might be for this body to approve the award, the recommendation of the RFP committee, and leave it at that, with the guidelines that are set within the RFP. So I guess the ultimate goal is to get it to the land bank trustee. It may not have needed to even come to us tonight in this way, because there are specific guidelines set out in the RFP. Remember, using RFP took it out of our traditional land bank, but I recognize, as you've already stated, it has to be approved by the Land Bank Board of Trustees. It's quite possible it could have gone on to that without even coming here. But since it is here, that would be the recommendation I would make for this one, for the Peregrine Falcon one.
Okay. And for item A19, was there anything additional from our land bank staff, Mr. Sutton or Mr. Knapp? Anything additional to add there? If not, no worries. I think we got a plan to go forward. Okay, cool. You had a question on?
Just A13. I am just curious for A13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parcels. And when you showed it on the map, it's a big vacant area. I don't know if anybody here knows the history of why all that property is vacant in that neighborhood. And if we don't, that's okay, but it's curious. And then we're gonna build 5 homes on the 6 or 7 parcels, is that right? That makes a lot more sense to me.
I believe that's Michael Sutton, redevelopment coordinator. Yes, Commissioner.
Okay. Okay, that's all I had on that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Commissioner Davis. Yeah, all of the A items are for building single-family homes. And so everything here will have that expectation. Any other questions, committee, before I lay out a pathway forward for approving these items? Okay. I will go ahead and let's do this. So we have A19, which is the Peregrine Falcon RFP, and we'll need to be specific with the language on that one. Commissioner Townsend.
Can we do that now?
Yes, so let's go ahead and do that now, and then we'll get through the rest of the A's.
Okay. My motion is to approve the recommendation of the committee that oversaw the RFP and make the award as they, that decision, to support the decision of that group and move this on to the Land Bank Board of Trustees.
Okay, clerk.
I would also ask that before it goes to the Land Bank Board of Trustees, or when it does, that the specific awardee be named at that time. I know Counselor is at a disadvantage here since Deputy Green worked on this, but my motion would include that when it moves on to Land Bank Board of Trustees, that be publicly announced.
Okay, clerk, did we get all of that?
We did, thank you.
Okay, I'll go ahead and second that motion. Clerk, can we get the roll?
Roll call. Hill,
Aye.
Ramirez,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
Bynum,
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
The vote is 5-0. The motion carries.
Okay, now we have the remaining items that are A that we have discussed. Is there a motion for the remaining items?
Bynum move to approve the remaining A items.
Is there a second?
Townsend second.
Okay, clerk can get the roll.
Roll call. Hill,
Aye.
Ramirez,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
Bynum,
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Vote is 5-0. The motion carries.
Okay, thank you so much, committee. Now we are on, let's do B1 and then C2 and C3 all together.
Thank you, Commissioner. Michael Sutton, redevelopment coordinator. Item B1, Millennial Money Solutions, multifamily at 1739 South 35th Street and 1745 South 35th Street. Item C2's commercial new construction, First Wave Investments, 1604 Minnesota Avenue. C3 is Jason A. Bowman looking to do another commercial construction at 236 Santa Fe Road. I will note that C3 is located in Bonner Springs. I have been in contact with their planning department. They are aware of this application.
Perfect. That was going to be my question. Okay, before we take action here, committee, bear with me. We'll do a community comment first. Clerk, did we receive any comments for the items that were just read?
No comments were received.
Any hands raised online?
No hands are raised.
For the folks here that are waiting, would anybody like to speak to the 3 items that were just read? Okay, I will go ahead and close the public comment portion. Committee, any questions or is there a motion?
Bynum move to approve these items.
Townsend second for B1, C2, C3.
Thank you so much. Clerk, can we get the roll?
Roll call, Hill,
Aye.
Ramirez,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Vote is 5-0. The motion carries.
Thank you so much. That takes us to 4.3. 4.3 are land bank property transfers that received no opposition from staff or from neighborhood groups. Mr. Sutton or Mr. Knapp can take it away.
Thank you, Michael Sutton, redevelopment coordinator. I just want to clarify that you do want me reading the names on these applications as well.
Yes, the name of the applicant and then the address.
Before I get started, please forgive me if I butcher anybody's name on here, but I'll do my best. Item PT1, Horacio Guerrera, 15 North Mill Street. PT2, The Stock Spot KC LLC, 1923 South 38th Street. Item PT4, Brian Torres, 829 South 10th Street. Item PT5, Joshua Yakum, 1837 South 35th Street. PT6, Unio Ramos, 1709 North 26th Street. PT7, Ulysses Jimenez Lopez, 1009 Ann Avenue. PT8, Tanya Love, 2278 Russell Avenue. PT9, Noel Nuez Jr., 1021 Teeny Avenue. PT10, Jose Mahano, 2926 North Alice Street. PT11, Jeffrey Leisinger, 1700 Stinson Avenue. PT12, Antonio Cervantes, 1137 Ann Avenue. PT13, Pompilio Valenzuela, 1055 Armstrong Avenue. PT14, Audrey Pierre, 949 New Jersey Avenue. PT16, Pamela Guest, 830 Garfield Avenue. PT18, Morris Sanders, 2712 Waverly Avenue. PT19, Mario Santillan, 918 Walker Avenue.
Thank you so much. Appreciate us getting all that information out there and applicant names as well. Let's do public comment first. Clerk, any comments received for the items that were just read?
No comments were received.
Any hands raised online?
No hands are raised.
For the patient folks that have been waiting, would anybody like to speak to the items that were just read? You don't have to, but just want to offer the opportunity. Okay, let the record show no one has approached. I'll go ahead and close the public comment portion. Committee, these are all action items. Any questions or is there a motion?
Bynum move to approve all these items as presented.
Townsend second.
Hill. Okay.
All right, I believe that was the second or a third from Commissioner Hill. Clerk, can we get the roll?
Roll call, Hill,
Aye.
Ramirez,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
Bynum,
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Vote is 5-0. The motion carries.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, so now we are at 4.4. Second to last item here, and these are the land bank options with opposition. We have about 3 of them. Mr. Sutton?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Michael Sutton, redevelopment coordinator. First one, WO A15, Laura Diallo, 3052 Hutchings Street. The opposition on this one was OCP states that while applicant has reached out, they have not had enough time to discuss and are asking for this to be held to allow for further discussion. Item WO B3, LMK and Associates. They're at 1746 Greeley Avenue, 1742 Greeley Avenue, 1738 Greeley Avenue, 1732 Greeley Avenue, 1720 Greeley Avenue, 1716 Greeley Avenue. Opposition, OCP is stating that no progress has been made on the lots under the ops agreement across the street from the same developer. And we have WLC1 Gwynn Group Properties located at 1414 Stewart Avenue, 1412 Stewart Avenue, 1410 Stewart Avenue, 1408 Stewart Avenue, 1406 Stewart Avenue, 1404 Stewart Avenue, 1326 Stewart Avenue, 1324 Stewart Avenue, 1322 Stewart Avenue, 1318 Stewart Avenue, 1314 Stewart Avenue, 1500 Stewart Avenue, 1502 Stewart Avenue. And the neighborhood opposition comments was OCP would like to know what the updated plan is.
Thank you so much. Okay. We will do public comment first and then go ahead and discuss. Clerk, were there any public comments received for A15, B3, or C1?
No comments received.
Any hands raised online?
No hands are raised.
Okay. For the folks that are here in the audience, would anybody like to speak to any of these three items? Let the record show no one has approached. I'll go ahead and, oh, yes, before I close.
I'll go ahead and speak to B3.
Make sure your microphone is on.
Yes,
And
they left it on.
okay, all right.
I'll speak to
A name and city of residence before you
sorry,
start.
John Tell Jones, Mosaic Construction Company.
Thank you, sir.
I'll speak to a couple of them. I think B3. I can't see the other one. I think it was C1 maybe.
Yes.
So I think those group of individuals are kind of grouped up with me on another project as far as waiting on environmental clearances from KDHE. I do know that there was some turnover there, and there's been some kind of pauses on what they have going on as far as getting the phase 1 and the phase 2 environmentals done. So that may be an issue with them moving forward with planning on getting their stuff done. So I know they didn't raise their hand or anything, but I do know that that's what's going on with their projects.
Thank you.
Commissioner, we do have the Gwynn Group online.
Oh, okay. That is the applicant. Yes, please.
You'll need to unmute.
Yes, sir. And yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. Yes, my name is Eddie Gwynn, speaking as pertaining to the parcels, as pertaining to the opposition from OCP. At this point, we have completed phase 1 and phase 2 for the subject parcels. We've also submitted for pre-plat. BHC Roads is our civil engineer. We will be submitting for final plat for all of the land, for all of the parcels that we have an option on before the end of year. We're also in civil design phase. We'll be moving to civil design phase after the final plat. So substantial progress has been made. We have not communicated recently with OCP. We will be more than glad to do so, but I just wanted to update the council that we've made significant progress. We did have some partners that were on the project that we were holding up for. They did submit letters to the lead bank, to Mr. Knapp, telling them that we had held up on our project for about 1.5 years to give them time to work out some items that they were not able to work out, and which caused them to back out of the project. So that created a little bit of the delay. But at this point, we are moving fast forward ahead.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the full context there. Stay online just in case there are any further questions from the committee. We do appreciate you providing that intel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Any other comments or anything from staff regarding these three items?
Just on, yes, Michael Sutton, redevelopment coordinator. Just that I have spoken with the applicant from A15, and she has, or excuse me, they have confirmed that they did reach out not long after I sent out the information for the neighborhood group. So not to throw the neighborhood group under the bus, but they have had time to respond to this and they are aware of this application.
Gotcha. Okay. And so, Mr. Sutton, just to get some clarity there, we have a deadline or a timeline by which all of the neighborhood groups are notified, and then you all have time to, gather those responses and then present them to us. Are you saying that within that allotted time, you all did not receive any opposing comments from OCP regarding, or outside of the one that we have right now?
They responded, OCP gave their comments back within the time window that we require opposition comments. They're just saying they haven't had any time to actually meet with the applicant.
Gotcha.
yet. So
Okay.
the applicant satisfied our requirement of meeting of reaching out to the neighborhood.
I see what you're saying. They just have not connected, but you all have sent the information out. The applicant has made the attempt. OCP just says we've not been able to sync up in meeting times.
That is correct, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you for the clarity there. Okay. Okay, these are 3 action items before us. Yes, Commissioner Bynum.
Just a question for Mr. Gwynn, and thank you, by the way, for that and your steady movement. I really appreciate that. But are you speaking for item C1, the multiple addresses on Stewart, or are you also speaking on B3, the multiple addresses in the 1700 block of Greeley?
I was speaking regarding the addresses on Stewart. On Greeley, I believe we have a few of those parcels also, but I think those back up into LMK, which is Mr. Steve Hooks. I believe he's on the line also.
Okay,
But I believe
fantastic.
those back up into his properties also, because those parcels kind of connect with each
Okay.
other, if that makes
Thank
sense.
you.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you, Townsend District 1. Mr. Gwynn, thank you for your appearance tonight, and I'm happy to hear about the progress being made. Please correct me if this is not correct, Mr. Knapp, Mr. Sutton. The properties identified with the Gwynn Group tonight, were those awarded out of Land Bank initially around like 2020? It seems, as I recall, them being around the time we were in COVID. So. No, go
Yes,
ahead.
ma'am. It was shortly thereafter, COVID. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so of course, the concern of the neighborhood group is, hey, it's been 5 years and we haven't seen anything. So I would encourage you to stay in close contact with them. And what the question is they're asking is, when will we see foundations poured? I mean, the real gut of the matter is, when will these vacant lots be transformed into the houses that they've been looking forward to? So I would encourage you to stay in close contact with them and let them know the answer to that question and the processes you're going through. That's the consternation with that. So I wish you success, but keep in mind, from their perspective, it's been about 5 years. So is the representative from LMK, is that person available, Mr. Hooks?
Commissioner, we have an iPhone Stephen online with your hand raised that I believe may be the applicant.
Okay, because the same comment would be with Mr. Hooks. I'd like to hear from him.
Yeah, good evening. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good evening. My name is Steve Hooks with LMK, CEO of LMK. I just want to clarify for the record, 1702 and 1706 is in a previous option agreement already in progress. That's not included in the second set of properties. So just for the record.
Okay, what is the
1702 and 1706 is already in a previous option agreement.
I don't see that listed here tonight.
I heard Mr. Sutton speak of that address, so I was just making sure that was not included.
It's not.
Okay, great.
It is not. It is not on the agenda.
Okay, great. All right, so just so you know, I've been going through this process. I just got approval for environmental 1 and 2 approved 3 weeks ago before Thanksgiving. We have constantly been through civil planning, meeting with planning several times this year, probably about 6 or 7 times this year. We're narrowing it down to where we at today and what we're ready to present next week. We have full plans, architect plans, we have full civil plans, we have full water plans, we have full survey, we have all our documents for submission. We just don't have final costs on our some of our material vendors that are still waiting for vendor requests. But we are constantly moving forward. We have spent a lot of time and money in this situation, understanding the process for the UG in this development process has been very difficult, but now I have got my arms around it and I understand it. And so I'm willing to move forward. And that's why I applied for the additional lots, because the environmentals take so long through the process. With the timing put in place for my costs, it would be easier for me to continue to move forward on grilling.
Thank you so much. And that is a really good point. Because, I mean, we have heard from some of those same community members the desire for there to be environmental review of these parcels, particularly if they're going to be developed. And so you going through that process does mean that if it takes a year and a half, and that's the same timeline of your option, it's going to be very, very hard for you to do that and get to a point where you have financing and then also be in a position to receive a deed from us. And so that is a really good point. We do appreciate you providing clarity on that. Committee, other questions regarding these items? Yes, Commissioner Townsend.
I think.
All I want to say is, I think I'm repeating a little bit of what you just said. So for these two gentlemen here, you know, that have commenced these environmental reviews and all kinds of other things for their existing projects, my opinion, holding these up for that does not make good sense, especially financially, because while we hold these up, what happens? Costs just go higher and higher and higher. And that just doesn't make good sense to me. I think they've appeared here tonight. They've demonstrated good faith on their prior parcels. And I think that said, these need to move forward so they can start those same processes on these parcels as well. And with that, I would make a motion to approve WOA 15, WOB 3, and WOC 1.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner. We'll hold that motion for now. Yes, Commissioner Townsend.
Yes, point of clarification. I know Mr. Gwynn's group had previously been awarded properties out of the land bank. And this is what is giving OCP pause. So these are new application requests or an extension for what Gwynn already has? I think that needs to be clarified.
That's a great question. Mr. Knapp.
Yes, this is Judd Knapp, Land Bank Manager. Yes, Eddie Gwynn started in 2001, and he got the whole project from 17th to 13th in parallel. And then Vibrant Health came a few years ago and wanted like the middle section of it, and we brought that back. We canceled Eddie's option for the middle part of it, the addresses that are on our agenda today. And then Vibrant Health backed out of building their building, and then Mr. Gwynn wants them back so he can complete his project.
So the Stewart addresses presented tonight were part of the original request, but under Vibrant Health, who was working at that time.
Not exactly. The original request was from Mr. Gwynn for the whole like 17th to 13th. And then a few years after that, Vibrant Health came and wanted to build a building there. So we got a new option agreement for Vibrant Health.
And is that what these Stewart addresses
Those
are?
are what the Stewart addresses are, yes.
Okay, and I remember this original project all as one, including Vibrant Health. So I guess that's what I'm getting at.
Yes.
That whole stretch was part of the development that Mr. Gwynn was spearheading, even though the plan was at that time for Vibrant Health to build a facility there. So that's what these are on Stewart.
Yes.
That's still I'm seeing as part of the Gwynn project. So, okay, got that straight. With respect though to LMK, I would, Mr. Hooks, if you're still on, recommend that you keep OCP apprised of what's going on. And a lot of times the neighborhood groups want to hear, you know, when are we going to see foundations laid? That's the bottom line of it all. You may be making progress with planning and all that, but they're looking at, you know, I'm not hearing anything, I'm not seeing anything. So I would highly recommend that you get in touch with OCP and stay in touch with them on a regular basis about the development. So for these projects, these are new requests, and I'm talking about the LMK Associate, the multifamily. These are brand new requests, or were they related to any other previous award that LMK received from this body for land bank?
Michael Sutton, redevelopment coordinator. That is correct, Commissioner Townsend. All of these on Greeley for this are new applications. They have another application, an existing option agreement across the street, and I think that's what OCP was saying. They said, well, you haven't made progress on your original lots, so essentially, why are you getting these lots?
I would like to see these particular items held over, the LMK requests, until they meet with the neighborhood group and bring them up to date and explain what they're already doing on the lots that they have. This gets to the heart of OCP's complaint. That would be my recommendation for that, for the LMK properties.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Townsend. I think a couple of things that we want to keep in mind. When we passed the new policy and mandated that staff come to us and inform us of all of the options that have been awarded by the Land Bank Board of Trustees, and they give us a status update, not just for any particular project, for all of those projects. So regardless of if any particular applicant provides a direct update or not, we have already placed that responsibility on staff of informing us and the community of what the status of all of the option applications are. That process started and that practice started this year, and it's going to continue on, and it'll be annual, usually in the spring. And so I just want to make sure that folks are aware we don't necessarily vote on this and then never have any action until the option ends. We do have accountability within that process. There was a motion made by Commissioner Bynum to approve all of them. I don't know if Commissioner Hill or Commissioner Ramirez, if you all have anything to add here. I would like for us to get out of here and for all of this to be unanimous and for us not to have a item that's on non-consent to the land bank, and for that not to be a part of the new meeting for the new folks coming in. Commissioner Townsend, well, let me ask this. When will these items be, to staff, when will these items be on the full commission agenda?
Michael Sutton, I believe December 18th.
It will be on December 18th. So it's a pretty quick timeline. Yes, Commissioner Townsend.
And just to be clear, I'm not saying no, I'm
Sure.
just asking for a holdover on these so that either staff
Mhm.
and preferably the holder of the option or the requester of the option, get with the neighborhood group and specifically answer their question about what they're already in option status for. That is the pause for concern that the neighborhood group has. So I'm not saying no, I'm
Mhm.
just requesting a holdover until that's, so that could be done.
This is Steve Hook, CEO, LMK. Can I speak?
Mr. Hooks, before you continue
Okay.
here, because I got some commissioners that are wanting to provide public comment. I will say our next meeting, clerk, would be January 5th, if I'm not mistaken, for NCD.
You are correct, January 5th.
So I'm just that's like right after the holidays. And so I just want us to keep all of these things in mind. If we're saying we're going to delay it, and if we're wanting a meeting to happen between now and January 5th, that might be a tall task for the applicant to do. Commissioner Ramirez, then Commissioner Bynum.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I hope you guys can hear me. I'm kind of in agreement with you, Commissioner Davis. It's December 8th. It's going to come before December 18th. That is 10 days. I would strongly encourage both applicants or just applicants of this one that Commissioner Townsend is speaking of to meet with the neighborhood group, to bring them up to date, to provide that information. It's 10 days. I believe that, in my opinion, that should be enough time to be able to find a date between the applicant and the neighborhood to have a sit-down conversation before this comes before us again on the 18th. So I would be in favor of moving it forward, but with the expectation that the applicant meets with the neighborhood before the 18th. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Bynum.
Thank you. First of all, it's December. It is Christmas, and I just do not believe that that's very feasible. I don't know if Miss Candy Leonard Caldwell is on the call tonight. She's very faithful at attending these meetings. Mr. Hooks and Mr. Gwynn both, but primarily these addresses on Greeley, they just gave us an update. They just gave us an update of what's going on these parcels. They did that in response to the request for information from OCP, the neighborhood group. Again, we know a lot of times action is happening. It's just not happening above ground where we can see it, to Commissioner Townsend's point. But I think a lot of this demonstrates just how much work there is to do before you dig a shovel in the ground and how time consuming that is. And they've been, as far as I can tell, both meticulously following the processes that we have asked them to follow. And I have to agree that my neighborhood group's not going to meet before January 5th. I don't know when OCP meets, but at Christmas time, asking a builder, developer, and a neighborhood group to try to find a time to get together, I just think is unreasonable. And time is money. And these are not small investments. I'm just pleading my case for letting these move forward to a vote at full commission and letting these options continue so that these exciting projects that are happening in this area can continue to play out. Mr. Gwynn starting his process in 2021 just shows you how long it takes to even get this far. You know, so again, I'm just going to restate my motion of approving WOA15, WOB3, WOC1.
Yes, Commissioner Townsend.
Take them separately.
Yeah,
I would be willing to retract my motion
okay. To divide it separately,
and
okay.
take them separately.
Okay, so can you revise your motion for?
I move to approve WOA15.
Second.
Okay, clerk, can you get the roll?
Roll call. Hill,
Aye.
Ramirez,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
Bynum,
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
The vote is 5-0. The motion carries.
Brings us to WOB3. Is there a motion?
I move to approve WOB3.
Davis, second. Clerk, can we get the roll?
Roll call. Hill,
Aye.
Ramirez,
Aye.
Townsend,
No.
Bynum,
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
The vote is 4-1. The motion carries.
Last one.
I would move to approve WOC1.
Davis, second. Clerk, can we get the roll?
Roll call. Hill,
Aye.
Ramirez,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
Bynum,
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
The vote is 5-0. The motion carries.
Thank you so much. We have one last item, and this applicant has been waiting so patiently here. Mr. Sutton, I'll go ahead and hand it off to you for kind of explaining this application.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Michael Sutton, Redevelopment Coordinator. Excuse me, WOPT 20, Laura Sanchez, 3800 Sewell Avenue, 3509 rear of North 39th Street, 3451 rear of North 39th Street. And this was a bit of a mix-up, mixed communication on this one. The applicant is actually, there should have been two separate applications.
Mr. Sutton, I'm so sorry to interrupt. Can you move your microphone a little bit closer?
Is that better?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Yes, this should have been split as two separate applications. One is a yard extension and one as a garden initially, but it was initially put in as all 1 yard extension, which in that case, it would be against our policy. This lot, or excuse me, the southern lot does border the applicant's yard. And it's what we consider as an unbuildable lot. It doesn't have road access. These other two lots to the north, right here, I put those in as a yard extension by mistake. They should be a garden. But I've worked with the applicant and the commissioner to get things cleared up on this one. So it should be two separate applications. It should be a yard extension application for the southern lot and then a separate garden application for the northern lots. How I just notated that on the application, not gonna let me scroll down. I did put it in as both though. You see, sorry. This was kind of a last minute clarification on here, so excuse me for not having all of the information. But I have spoken with the applicant. We did get things cleared out and situated. It should have been on our regular agenda. There was some confusion as to what the application was, but we do have that clarified, and the applicant is here to speak on her behalf.
Yes, and thank you so much, Mr. Sutton. In committee, the reason why this is kind of on our non-consent or with opposition is because of the change And so because this was a unique situation where the parcels got mixed up and it was all for a yard extension, but it should have been some for yard extension, some for a garden. We didn't want to have the applicant wait until January to be heard. And Ms. Sanchez has been waiting patiently here and is willing to answer any questions you all have about our application. But we are trying to work with her to make sure that there's opportunity there for her to get this through. And she has been engaging UG staff for a very long time trying to obtain these parcels. So thank you so much, Mr. Sutton. Let's do a public comment first. Clerk, were there any comments received for this item?
No comments received.
Any hands raised online?
There are no hands raised.
Would anybody in the public like to speak to this particular item? If you would like to, Ms. Sanchez, you can. If not, that's completely all right as well. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. We'll go ahead and close the public comment portion. Committee, motion or any questions from Ms. Sanchez? Again, she's been waiting patiently here. Yes, Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you, Townsend, District 1. Thank you, Ms. Sanchez, I wasn't going to ask you any questions, but just want to award you for your diligence, to recognize your diligence here. For clarification from staff, 3800 Sewell is a yard extension, and what are the other two?
Actually, the 167037 is a yard extension. I've been caring for that for 10 years.
Okay, what is the address?
It's 3451 North 39th.
Okay.
That one there.
Okay.
That's actually like a third of an acre there. And then those other two parcels used to be owned by the Martin Luther King Junior Community Center. And I tried to purchase them from them at that time because they were paying like $700 in property tax, but it's basically unbuildable. And so I couldn't get anybody that would answer me back on that. And so when it finally fell into the land bank, I was like, oh, now's my chance. Because I have a farm school and a nature school, and so the property to the right of that, 11.7 acres, I had an agreement with the owner of that, and we have hiked. So my school is coming up on 7 years that we've been there, and we hike that whole area, and I love it, and nobody else loves it, and I want to take care of it. And, you know, we've cleaned all the trash out of it, but there are TVs and, you know, tires and all those things that I feel like I would be better if it was my property, you know, I would be able to do that without feeling like I'm really, you know, overstepping bounds there. So.
Thank you, Mrs. Sanchez. Commissioner Townsend, you had some questions.
Yeah, I was really just clarifying the 3800, they're requesting a yard extension. Is that what the request is for these other two properties that are
No,
notified?
my apologies, Commissioner Townsend. The yard extension request is for 3451 rear North 39th. 3800 Sewell and 3509 rear North 39th are garden.
Can you zoom out a little bit on that? Because you can't see my property there. There's actually, well, that's too far, but
Okay.
like trying to do the zooming thing myself. But yeah, just south of that long skinny piece there is the third of an acre, which I guess you have those two properties together there, Mr. Sutton. Because that little skinny strip there is actually the 167037 and the 9133A18. Yeah, that's those two pieces together.
And those are parcel numbers that
Yes,
you
those
see.
parcel numbers. Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
I know this land like the back of my hand. And if you'll notice, like the houses that are there, even though their property extends there, when you see that tree line, that is literally a jagged drop off. That's why I say this is really not buildable, but it's hikeable and it's fun to take children back there. And that Sewell, where Sewell intersects there, there's actually a drain there that drains the water for the entire neighborhood. And it has washed out. I mean, it's really cool. The dirt from the tree roots, like it's a gully through there. The kids like to climb on all that, but so I want to keep it a green space and you know, keep it a beautiful thing, you know, for my nature school. So
Thank you,
Mhm.
Sanchez. Hold right there, Ms. Sanchez. Commissioner Townsend, were there any additional questions that you had?
No, that was it. I wanted to make sure I understood what these other two are. So I understand from Mr. Sutton that the 3,800 Sewell is the garden request, not a yard extension. 3451 is the yard extension, and 3509 is a garden request.
That is correct, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Because if you look at my property, I have a tiny little flat area and we already have all the usable land and garden. And they're just, small 3x12 beds across there. And so we can't do corn there, can't do any, bigger crops.
Mhm.
And with all those trees, we really would like to put elderberry and, native plants and all those types of things. There's pawpaw trees back in there and lots of nut trees and all those things.
Okay. All right. Well, Ms. Sanchez, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate
you.
you and your
Thank you for
time.
Mr. Sutton. And so you actually granted me the 167037 parcel 4 years ago, but that was when y'all were giving buildable lots away for $1 and they wanted $6,800 for that third of an acre. And I was like, when you sharpen your pencil, come back to me. Now you have sharpened your pencil down to 10 cents a square foot and
Since
I am
we have
back.
changed the
Thank
policy.
you.
Yes, we have changed the policy to make it more. And it's great that other folks want to take on that unbuildable land. Okay. Thank you so much again for your patience, Ms. Sanchez. Committee, any other questions? If not, is there a motion?
Townsend District 1, move to approve the property requested at 3,800 Sewell Avenue as a garden to Ms. Sanchez. The property at 3451 R North 39th as a yard extension, and the property at 3509 R in 39th Street as a garden.
I'll go ahead and second that. Thank you so much, Commissioner Townsend, for tracking all that. I was trying to follow along with you, trying to catch up. All right, clerk, can we get the roll?
Roll call. Hill,
Aye.
Ramirez,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
Bynum,
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Vote is 5-0. The motion carries.
All right, well, committee, that ends our business. And I do just want to take a moment. I know they did it with ED&F, but Commissioner Townsend, who has labored so diligently on the land bank, with this being your last meeting, we just want to say blessings to you and your next endeavors. If you ever have some free time and you want to come on Monday night and spend some lovely time with us, we will be here laboring away. But you have advocated so effectively for your area and have made this process so much better. And the Northeast has such a strong foundation in part because of your work. And so thank you for your service to this committee and to the Northeast.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It has been a pleasure to serve with you and all the other fellow commissioners here. I have to thank all the staff who is here tonight, all the staff over the 12 years that I've been on this committee who have answered questions and researched. I know, budget plug here, this department could use more, as a lot of others had. I remember when it was just Mr. Knapp. Mr. Sutton has been a great addition. I wish you all well. Madam Clerk and her staff will miss you, but not enough to come back anytime soon. And thank you all. Mr. Frank, thank you for the sound checks. Our security detail always felt safe and comfortable here. Things were going to be done in accordance. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Commissioner Hill, you have your hand raised.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to say to Commissioner Townsend, thank you so much for your service. I watched you way before I was a commissioner and would often call and just ask you questions. So you have sincerely helped me down through the years with many different items, and certainly appreciate the work you've done for our community, but also thank you for being a friend to me personally. Thank you for your work again. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. Commissioner Ramirez, you have your hand raised.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just reiterate comments, Commissioner Townsend, gonna miss you. Since my 5 years on the board, we've been through a lot. We've had ups and downs with our community but the main thing that has always been the shining star of our community is we're resilient. And you've been there to make those hard decisions. And so thank you for your dedication and your sacrifice to the community and to your district. Hope your next endeavors are peaceful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner.
Yes, Commissioner Bynum.
Commissioner Townsend, it's just been a joy and a pleasure, and I'm sorry that it's emotional. I don't want to do that to you, but it's been remarkable to work with you. And I've said to you and to so many other people, as you talk about working with your fellow commissioners, I've just so appreciated the approach you've always taken. Always prepared, always ready, always asking smart questions, really taking the time to get to kind of the meat of the matter so many times. And even tonight, we sign up for this work. We raise our hand and we ask the community to let us be the one that represents. And if that means staying a little bit longer to get to the details of the matter, then that's what we do. And you've always done that, never backed away from that. And it's just one of the many, many things that I so appreciate about you and will miss about you, and certainly will welcome the new District 1 Commissioner. But there's only one Gail Townsend. So thank you so very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you so much.
Agreed. Okay. Well, thank you all so much. Again, Commissioner Townsend, best wishes on your next endeavors. Don't be a stranger. And yes, with that, is there a motion to adjourn? Or sir, was there a question or something here? Yeah, make sure the microphone is on. Just want to make sure you got what you needed.
Hello, my name is James Williams. I live at 719 South 8th Street. I was trying to extend my land, purchase a lot next door to me, which was 725 South 8th Street. On December 3rd, when I came to the last meeting, I was on the list. Today, I'm not.
Okay.
And
Yes.
why is that?
We will go ahead and work with our staff and figure out what happened. We do meet again on January 5th. And let's clerk, January 5th.
January 5th.
January 5th. And so when we reconvene, we will first look through what happened there and then work with you to get that matter resolved.
I've been to every one of these meetings. Even last week when it was canceled, I came up here even. And here.
I am so sorry. Yeah, I am so sorry. Yes, Mr. Sutton.
This application was actually approved at the last full commission meeting.
Yes.
Gotcha.
I'm looking at it right now. Land
Okay.
bank staff, you have to give land bank staff a little bit of time to reach out with the additional information.
Yeah.
Your application has been approved. Land bank staff will be sending you an email within the next couple of weeks with additional information.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your patience, and my apologies for almost missing you there, but thank you. Thank you.
That's holidays.
Yes, thank you. All right, is there a motion to adjourn and get us out of here?
Motion to adjourn.
Townsend, second.
All right, clerk, can we get the roll?
Roll call. Hill,
Aye.
Ramirez,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
Bynum,
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
The vote is 5-0. The motion carries.
All right, everyone get home safe. Have a good night. And for NCD, see you January 5th. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas.